That's a great place. Five. We might as well actually get started because we're gonna try our best to be good boys and girls today with the time zone. So, unofficial sub video series slash podcast starting now time. How's it going, everybody? And welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network Link 232. I'm your host Spencer Presley, and joining me today is my tier-tastic co-host in chief. No longer a monthly Megatenist, but sometimes a Friday podcasteer. LaRue, Waroo, Larry Woo. How are you doing today?
Good. Yeah.
Just
Doing
think,
all right.
just think it's been this long since you were last on the show that you've canceled your old show and started a new show.
Well, technically, I didn't start this one. It was this weird thing where as soon as people knew that I wasn't in a podcast anymore, everyone was like, "Hey, you want to be in my podcast?" And
That's
I was like, "No, I
That's really funny. That's like the last thing I would expect is like the response to that. Like the first thing I thought when that happened was, "Oh, hey, that's interesting. I want to," because I remember asking you if you wanted to come on to talk about ending the show. But no, like I didn't even think about the fact of like bringing it on. But no, like what's funny? I mean, unless I'm missing, like, you really haven't like talked about ending the show. But like, how long has it been now? Like, 'cause it was around Nocturne HD coming out, right?
think we went straight. We think we went right after that. I think we ended in like January of this year. I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like an immediate like it wasn't like a dead on arrival thing. It wasn't even that everyone else was kind of over it. It was just like I didn't want to do it anymore.
Well, yeah, 'cause, like I feel like you never really talked about it publicly, but you definitely have tweeted about it a lot. Like, and correct me if I get anything wrong, but like for you, I feel like it was more of a if I want to talk about something news-wise or topical, you'd rather just hop on Twitch for 20 to 30 minutes and just shoot out there as opposed to making a podcast and getting it up whenever it gets up.
It's one part that, and then the other part is like I don't think that there was anything that we were doing that couldn't have been done by other people, so I didn't want to do it. We were doing the spoiler cast, which were cool because we would do all this research, but then by the time we actually recorded it, we used almost none of the information that we had picked up. It was just our like user experience, which I don't think is very valuable.
Damn.
So so I was like, whatever. Like, this is kind of whatever.
Well, it's tough because, like, especially now, and I'd love to get your opinion on this because I know you and me have done this long enough to know none of our we have no reason not to be honest with everyone out there. Like, there are so many quote unquote like Atlus related podcasts just within the last like 2 years that have popped up. It's definitely not like a minority thing though. But like for you as someone who's like kind of watched around for it, because even though like I know pretty much everyone who does a podcast, whether they've done 2 a year or 12 a year, I pretty much know everyone or at least have heard of the podcasts that are out there. Like for you, what is your opinion of that, like kind of seeing that rise, especially as someone who kind of took that as a okay, I'm gonna call it quits on my thing now.
Like I mean, it's cool because then there's a lot more like just Megaten content out there. For me, I've never been someone who watched a lot of podcasts. Like I remember watching like maybe 5 to 10 of yours, which is not that much considering you have 232.
We're weekly though. We're weekly. You can skip a couple. There's not a lot of continuity you need in all these, but that's the nice thing.
And then with Cathedral of Shadows, which is like super old, I only watched like 2 episodes, and I was like, I don't really like this. And like it's because for me, like the podcasts I watch in general are super dense with information, and it's more so a class than an actual like discussion. so like podcasts in general I've never really like sparked interest, at least the Megaten ones, because usually it's people talking about things they like. Sometimes they don't have like a guest that has information, which is usually the ones I watch for you, is when you'd have like Atlus PR, when you had Kevin like 3 times, I think.
If you have not listened, especially as a publishing fan, if you've not listened to the one I just had with Matt from Udon, you are sitting on Atlus information gold. He was an Atlus gold mine.
Yeah, and he's the one. I think he gave you a coupon code as well.
I thought that was so funny and sad at the same time. Of like my wife was like, why is that such a crazy thing. Like, don't like shows do that all the time. Like, honey, I've done this for almost 10 years, and that's the first time I've ever had a coupon code because I don't try for that. Like, that's not like the kind of thing I make. Like, God knows I'm far from ever monopolizing this thing. But no, it is funny. Like, kind of like being a bit like negative, but like a bit realistic. I wonder what your perspective is of a in the aspect of like other podcasts. I don't know if it's just because of how long this has just been true. I feel like even if I had like and that's what's the weird thing is like I know no one who does it like even now with like the best of intentions where I look at them and I go, I know you, even no matter how much I know of these people, of like, I guarantee you in 10 years most of these shows will probably not be on. And that's not even a negative to them, it's just like hey, if you're the kind of person who's going to make multiple YouTube channels because just talking about Atlus in a video format's going to burn you out, a podcast will triply do that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't see a lot of them lasting, but that's kind of just the nature of the beast. I don't think like even the one I remember like from the early days, like is Megaton Marathon still going?
No,
Like
but I mean they're very much like I think of them as kind of like the EP. Like they have a very specific thing, kind of similar to yours almost. Of like, I don't even remember if they actually like numbered them and stuff a lot. But like we're getting to the point now where I think I've had Alyssa on like more recently than the last 3 years of Megaton Marathon.
yeah,
But
because
like
I used to follow them on Twitter, and I think the last things they tweeted were something like, "Oh yeah, there's some delays."
yeah, it's like, but like that's definitely one of like we have our set 3 people or 4 people that come on. We want to talk about something chronologically, and it's like the opposite of ever timely. Like I remember joking about them recently. They just got to OG Nocturne, and I was like, you guys should just like make the like audio like a little crisper. And just for this year's podcast, just call it the Nocturne HD episode. It's the exact same, but it just sounds a little nicer. But yeah, like for the other ones with it's such a weird thing of like I'm never mad if anyone else wants to start one or do one, and I'm never that surprised when one ends. But the only weird
Yeah.
thing, and I never really get a lot of people to ask me this, so I'd like you to, if you have any like insight or whatever for this, I'd be curious. Why do you think I've not burnt out on doing this after 200 plus episodes? Because I never think about it myself, and no one ever asks me. But I'm like, I could see myself literally doing this until I am dead. Like, it'll just be like, oh, there's no show this week. Someone looks it up and is like, oh, Spencer died. That's why. Just because it's like, I've done this so long, it is just like such a routine in my life.
I mean, it's probably partly the routine, but also I think that with some people, there's just a drive to do the thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like if you have it in you to do something and you actually enjoy it, then you're just gonna keep doing it. You know? I feel like there's a lot of people that are like that. Like there's it's kind of like how Nicolas Cage just keeps making movies, even though
why?
some of
Why is
them are
that?
like,
Why is that? You couldn't go with like Brendan Fraser, someone more universally loved for all of their work. You gotta be like, yeah, you know, Nicholas.
well,
He does a lot of trash, but he's still going. For every
well,
like direct to
he's
DVD,
he's not
he's
a
got a
he's
pig.
I'll say that Nicolas Cage has had like this like renaissance because the last like 5 or so movies he's been in, like even if they're like kind of like stupid, they're like highly entertaining.
I'll take
So
the
at least
compliment.
he's got that.
I'll take the compliment. Thank you.
And with Brendan, yeah, like it's something like that where like I think he's the one that I remember reading where he just said that he's gonna keep acting until he doesn't like until he dies. He doesn't. He like it's not even that he like it's not anything besides he just wants to keep acting. And I'm just like, man, that's admirable, but like, you gotta at least like pick your roles, you know. But that's the vibe I get from you. Is kind of just like that like drive to do it. Like it's just like ingrained in you.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, enough blowing each other back and forth. We are here to talk about commercial items because we are a slave to commercialism, apparently. So, if anyone here doesn't know, not only is this an episode of a weekly podcast, but there's a special reason LaRue is here, and that is because we are talking all about every Atlus West and Atlus USA collector's item. There's no good word for this because we're talking and ranking and tiering every collector's edition and pre-order bonus, not retailer specific because that actually would have added a couple of other weird things and nothing digital. But hypothetically, this is a simple list, and as I scroll down, there are 55 items we have to rank here. But for the most part, this should be pretty self-explanatory / a good trip down Atlus history lane of like there are even a couple of these I forgot were things that at least I thought was kind of charming. Very easy though in terms of we're just going to go from the top. I gave you the link as well, LaRue. So the first one should be the Catherine original release art book CD, and at the very bottom is the Catherine original deluxe edition. Is that what you see?
Yep.
Okay, so super simple, S tier, great, awesome. Almost nothing I assume we would change, but again, a reason I didn't want to just do this myself is because I think you and me unequivocally very, very big Atlus collectors, but with very different tastes and very different things we kind of look for in what we think is a good collector's edition. So that's why I kind of want to see what makes a Spencer S compared to a LaRue landfill. And LaRue landfill, or everyone else out there, that is the worst of the worst. That is like, I would pay you more money to not include this with my game. I don't know if any game's going to be a landfill qualifier, but it will be interesting nonetheless to kind of see what gets in there. Actually, one I did not include that I kind of wanted to start with just because I didn't really know how to classify this, and I'd be curious what you would think. So, I didn't want to include the Strange Journey CD. Because it included a CD, but it literally did nothing on it. So that would be a landfill of like that's just literally wasted.
Yeah, I would put that in like C or
just for the cardboard. The extra cardboard gets it up to the C.
Well, because it's a full CD. There's like some here that I would not even like. For instance, the Soul Hackers one would probably be like D or a landfill because it's like not a real soundtrack. I hate fake like. Just partial select, like when they put like selection or just the.
Well, let's be real. Atlus is like the king of terrible CDs. Like even they were doing it all the way up until like honestly Royal's okay, but like compare a collector's edition in the PS3 era Square was doing, giving you a 4-disc soundtrack compared to Persona 5, which had like what 9 songs from a 40+ soundtrack.
Yeah.
So they have a pretty bad track record of ever giving us what we want, which is kind of always extra funny because it's like the longer I've kind of followed the industry, CDs in collector's editions are actually sometimes some of the most expensive stuff next to art books to make when you don't own the rights to the music. But like literally they're not paying anyone any extra money at Atlus Japan to print these in the West.
Yeah, which boggles the mind even more because why is it so bad?
So we're going to start off just at the very, very top here. So we have Catherine original release. Did not include like a special box. It was just like shrink wrapped onto the 360 PS3 cases. But it was a like 20-something page art book, full color, very, very nice, and had a little CD sampler. This one I actually remember really liking the CD sampler with just because it had a lot of those really iconic arrangements from Catherine. Like it would have been nice to have like obviously the full like 3DS soundtrack, but I think just for a hey buy the game and you get this little mini art book thing, this one definitely kind of stands out to me as like it's a good, probably not great though. Like what about you?
Like the soundtrack parts is actually the worst part because for me because it's none of the original music for the game. There's like so little of that. It's just like the music that they decided to like redo, which some of it's really good. Like Mars and Jupiter from Gustav Holst is one of my favorite. Like his Planets. Like I don't know if I told you, but I'm a huge classical music fan.
Oh yeah, no. We talked about before actually talking about Catherine, but yeah, like that. I think it is like hard to not like bring up. It is basically the cheapest thing to get their rights on because this is all like no one has the rights to these songs because they are just so old. So putting them like and printing them and rearranging them is just the easiest thing ever.
And some of this music is good, but it's like that part's like whatever to me. I found a lot of value in the actual art book because it shows like Soijima's like art process for designing the cover art, and it's really interesting actually. That kind of stuff is like that magic that I actually want in like pre-order bonuses. So for being a pre-order bonus and just being an additional value, yeah, I would say that's like at least a C
Okay.
for sure.
And also, you were talking about this a lot leading up to, I think, one of your 9,000 videos you have in the making. But one of my favorite things that I don't think ever really gets brought up enough with Sojima's art, I think he is so interesting to watch create art way more than his finished products. I think by the time his, like, corporate production art team has finished and made like a quote unquote Soejima image, it is way less kind of his own work when you compare it to like the concept art and the sketch work to get there.
I feel like it depends basically because he's done some work that's like, oh wow, that's actually cool, and it's still him. And then you'll have like the arena box art, and it's like, oh, that's an art piece. Like it's not bad or
Not
good. It's just
not
kind of,
every not every Sojima piece can be a Stella Deuce art anthology.
yeah, exactly.
So I figured it would just be easy if we just kind of trade off each one, like giving our general thoughts and then kind of bouncing it back on the other. So I'm dying to know what you think of this one. Please tell everyone what you think of the Persona Q2 Collector's Edition.
Okay. We're talking about the Western one, right? Not the.
Yeah, everything here is Atlas West only. So North America,
Okay.
and also I don't know if you're going to dock points for this, or if you even remember this. This is only in North America. Atlas screwed all European fans out of this collector's edition and only gave them the crappy pen set.
Yeah. No, I remember that much because I feel like that contributed to it actually selling out pretty fast. Jeez. Okay, so this thing had like a bunch of interesting things. It had the 5-inch plush. It had the sampler art book. Like I don't know what to call that. A deck of playing cards and 4 buttons, and I don't think that's it, right?
I thought it had a CD. I might not, let me pull up the thing for it, but yeah, it was basically like you said, art book, plushie. I liked the trading cards. I don't know how you felt. Like I think obviously coming off of the Q ones that were tarot cards, and these are way smaller, just like playing cards. I kind of liked it actually, of just like, oh, I could actually see myself using these cards, even though of course I never did.
I kind of thought it was stupid.
Just because like the idea of it being player cards, or like which part was like kind of dumb?
I think it's because it didn't really relate to like Persona Q at all. It was just like, here's some cards.
By the way, I am wrong. No CD, but it was a art book with the thing. This one, and also as a fellow like print fan, and I know this is like 2 years, which feels like 9 million years. Whatever was going on from like circa 2017 to 2019, I hated every art book Atlus has made print quality wise. It was like this really rigid, high glossy paper. I felt like I was gonna break every time I opened that art book.
I mean, if you open it enough, yeah, it breaks pretty quickly because of the way it's bound too. It's super cheap. It's like I don't know. So I liked the book because it's interesting to see like Persona, like Sojima art, or any game where Sojima is like the lead artist or the creative director, whatever you want to call it, is always interesting because it always has like a lot of commentary about like how things came to be. It always has like concept stuff. So the art book was actually good, even though it was like really thin. I liked it. I liked the plush because I like plushes in general, and it wasn't like that cheap for a 5-inch like pre-order or 5-inch collector's edition plush. The only things I didn't like were the button and the deck of cards. The buttons were like, I know how cheap buttons are to make. I used to print buttons. They cost like almost nothing, so there's like no value to them. So them being included was like whatever. For me, this is like a C tier as well. I didn't hate it, but it didn't like. There's too many like factors against it. It not going like across like the West in general, just being exclusive to North America is cringe.
Importing is cringe. All right, I'll say this: it's more annoying only due to the fact, not that people had to import it. I think because the 3DS is region locked, that's what makes it suck. Is that you're paying more money for a collector's edition, and you can't even use that game in your native system.
Yeah, you just get this cool thing on your shelf. Basically, it's pretty bad. Like because at this point they were calling themselves Atlas West, so it's like a little dishonest to be called Atlas West and like screw over the West, the rest of the West.
So yeah, I mean, it's definitely one that like it's gonna be forgettable for everything that's in it. I think probably the history around it is more interesting, especially like it was the last 3DS retail game, and a couple of other things for it. But yeah, like as a CE, I don't know, like for you, like what are you feeling like ranking wise for it? Because like it's pretty low for me. Like it's not trash, but I feel like it's pretty down there in the bottom.
It's got to be like C or D. C would be generous.
I want to give it to the C, but I feel like the points you're bringing up though, like in like if everything in it was executed to the best of its ability, it would earn that C. But because of the like little annoyances, it's got to be brought down to the D.
Yeah, because what was the original MSRP? It was like 120.
No, 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 no. This was like $80.
Oh, okay, okay. I got to make sure to factor that in as well. Okay.
Shout out, by the way, everybody. I don't know if anyone remembers this because literally we all forgot Persona Q2 released as a society. Do you remember when Amazon just said fuck it and shipped that game like a month and a half early and Sega never commented on it?
No, I didn't. I didn't even know that even happened.
If you like go back, not a lot of places reported on it because why would you report on a 3DS game shipping early in 2019? But no, multiple people were getting shipments from. It was only Amazon. Amazon just said, "Oh, whatever, we'll ship it out." But it was for some people. So like me, I pre-ordered that thing as soon as it went live, and I like have multiple friends all got it like a month and a half before me, and it was one of those funny things of like no one knew what was going on. Atlus wasn't talking about it, and it was one of those weird things of like okay, but because it was such a like low interest release, like no one really cared about it. Like remember when like P5 came out and some guys were getting it a week early and people were like losing their mind, like it was the exact opposite. No one could have cared less.
Yeah.
All right, now on the opposite end of the spectrum, we have Persona Q's special edition, which I hold in pretty high regards because I always think of this as like the companion piece to the Persona 4 Golden special edition. I don't know like how you really feel about that, but it had the collector's box with really nice kind of embossing on it. Had the art book, had the CD sampler with the special like mostly like it was just like the 3 battle track arrangements and a couple other themes, and the 3DS case along with the tarot cards. But especially considering it came out at the exact same time as that Persona Q 3DS in America, I just loved everything about this. The case is super colorful. The art book like is soft cover and definitely like leaves a lot to be desired, especially for a game that has so much art. But just had a lot of nice like kind of like TLC things put into it, like having a matte cover with like splat glossy spot areas. Like there was a lot of effort that went into something that was like a less than $100 collector's edition at the time. Like what did you think of it?
Yeah, this is high up there because of, that case, if I remember correctly, was literally just they just repackaged the Japanese version because it's the same case.
Yeah, it was by
if you look on the inside, yeah, I like mine when I looked on the inside says L like Nintendo
oh my
3DS
god.
LL.
Yeah, that was it was Nintendo 3DS LL. Oh my god. Yeah, because they literally just went, "Hey Hori, how many do you got?" And they were like, "Take them all."
Yeah. And I love, that case. I still use it because it's a good case. It's a simple design, but it's really good. It's emblematic of the game. I love the inside thing. It has like Teddy and Koromaru. It's super good. I don't remember how many songs are on the sample or on the CD.
It's like 5 or 6. It's really low, but they were mainly wanting to like. I appreciated it as being like, oh, this had like the P3 variant, the P4 variant, the opening, and then the one of them singing together. So like I like that like it made sense as like less of an album and not even a sampler and more of just like what you would get in like an EP or something.
Yep. I also like the gimmick of having the other half of the tarot card set because you had to buy the I believe it was Persona Arena that had the first set. Mm-hmm. So I think I know that's kind of like an annoying gimmick for people who don't collect, but to me it's like the funniest incentive. Like only the people who really care will actually buy both for that. And I like always having goofy names for collector's editions. This one's called like Wild Card Premium or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Those are all like funny things that I enjoy about collecting, and this was available in the EU, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes.
Or am I wrong?
Shout out to
Yeah.
NIS for actually always publishing all that stuff at the time.
Yeah.
But other little thing I always say, especially about that case that I love in terms of like little awesome touches, and obviously this is probably more of a horror thing than anything. I love just the fact that the zipper was like they could have just used a cheap zipper, but it's just an exclamation mark to make it like even more on brand. Like it felt like very cohesive.
Yeah, it's super fitting. It's funny because for a game that like I think is largely forgotten by the fan base, I felt like that was made with so much intelligent design. Everything in that like limited edition was made with a lot of intelligent design. I put that in like B or A.
I'm okay. I'm at an S. This is an S one for me. Walk me like give me a reason why it should be an A instead then.
I just don't like sampler CDs. Like
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's yeah. We'll have some examples later that'll kind of bring it down for that. But going right back to it though, with Persona Q, how did you feel about the only thing that came with the launch edition was the tarot cards? I think
I don't hate it.
Oh,
yeah. I feel like that's less bad than just coming with buttons.
as we will talk about next. Exactly. It was like the buttons thing is like I don't know anyone who looks at buttons like buttons might even though they're not the same. I feel like I look at buttons and stickers the same. It's like who is this for?
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, Devil Survivor 2 limited edition. I was like, cool. Thank you for the trash, the free trash. Like I love stickers. No, stickers suck. Also, yeah, why is the stream at 480? By the way, is it possible to go up or no?
I'm trying. My internet's being a little bit weird, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is the fun part of it. But hey, let me tell you, all those sweet JPEGs I had to import today at work look just as good in 1080p as they do in 480p.
Good.
But
kind of like I've been digging around for that soundtrack like size, but I can't find like an actual number. Do you know the number of like how many songs were on it?
Hold on, was Q also the soundtrack?
I think it's the full soundtrack because that's all I'm seeing. Is
no.
saying...
I know for sure that is not the full soundtrack for sure.
Then what are they? I mean,
like a lot of them are kind of like getting like the weird ones for you. Yeah, the one because I don't have it right next to me, but I have a thing because I imported them all literally into like my sound library at the time. Is I have it's 5 tracks.
Okay.
So it was literally just like the opening, the 3 battle arrangements, and then like something else that like I don't have just because I just have tell me what these song tracks are called.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because I think the soundtrack is actually like 50 or 60 songs in total, or something in between there.
It's a really big one. Yeah, that's kind of like the funny thing, especially with the art book of like. Do you have the Persona Q art book?
I do. Yeah, it's a great art book actually.
With the weirdest thing, because we have to go on a tangent with this, I could not believe after speaking of like the Udon interview I had a couple weeks back. For whatever reason, I don't know if it was a slow news day, Persona Central decided to make an article about it. And what I thought was so funny was they mentioned at the end in a blurb, oh, hey, 5 years ago at San Diego Comic-Con, Udon announced the Persona Q art book was coming out at a certain point. And I had completely forgotten that it got announced. Just because it was like one of those things of like, was announced 9 million years ago in my head. So it was just like one of those funny things of like, I had completely forgotten about that. And it was one of those weird ones of like, I bet you there's a really boring story behind that. And I did a little bit of digging and I found out there is a very hilarious story behind why nothing has been announced with that. But there will be an update soon, at the very least. So if you're out there in the year 2021 or 2022 excited for a Persona Q art book, there's news maybe coming for you soon, not by me, though.
Nice, because that art book's really good. Like I said, Persona art books tend to be way beefier, and it has so much, like, just information. I like knowing about, like, how the design process went. And also, I found the exact track listing 4 songs. You were only one song.
Oh,
You gave him
okay.
one too many. One too many.
Dang. Also, I forgot the thing that made it even more confusing is the arrangement little CD thing. Japan got that exact same thing as their Day One edition bonus.
Fun.
Yeah, the cover's a little different. I mean, honestly, like I think there's like I would rather get like a half a set of tarot cards because, like, honestly, those tarot cards are beefy. Like, they're a nice size and they're actually pretty good quality.
Yeah, and I get that tarot cards and buttons easy to print, but I think that the tarot cards is a better product, especially for free.
Yeah, like in for free and with like the thing of like it's part of a set and that's an easy thing to collect. Like there were very
Mm-hmm.
few people, especially at the time. I think now it seems a little weird to tie a 3DS game with a at-home console fighting game pre-order bonus set. But like at the time, like neither one of us knew someone who was getting one and not the other. It was like, yeah, of course you're getting both.
Yeah, because that was the good old days where everyone was like, yeah, just anything Atlas just injected into my veins.
So this one for you, where you're at, of like it's good, non-offensive,
Would,
but not like blowing the minds.
yeah, it's got to be like a C because it's not bad. Like it's nowhere near landfill. It's actually no, I'll probably put it as a B because it's satisfying to get something free, and it kind of like it helps budget collectors.
True. Although I always forget this, and I think it was actually John who like brought it up to me recently. Of like, I had completely forgotten that Persona Q was $50. It was like because I bought the collector's edition, I forgot the
Mm-hmm.
MSRP of the regular edition. So like in my brain, I was like, no, that's 40. Had to be 40 because like the amount of $50 portable games back then were like you can count them on one hand. There's so few and far
Yeah,
between.
that's weirdly high actually, especially for that game. They must have. I don't know why they chose that price point.
The Nintendo price bump. They're like, listen, we've got a 3DS special edition. We're riding high. I mean, hey, remember until last year slash this year, Q was the best selling non mainline game in the entire series.
Yeah, that's true.
So speaking of one of the worst games in the non mainline series, though, the horrifyingly underwhelming pen set that everyone got. Don't worry, Europe, you got these pens too. The Redbubble store was working overtime for you guys. So we had four
Land,
pins. So we had four pins
land,
included in all of this, and I just want to hear your thoughts on this, just because it's like it's such
it's
a
trash.
yeah.
It's it's literal trash. There's no like I don't know anyone who's like, oh man, I can finally put my pins on my whatever. Like it's I
They,
hate pins like as bonuses because it's like the cheapest thing. These are literally like $2 bonuses that it costs so little to make, especially if they made them en masse. Um, yeah, I feel like this is like terrible. I don't know anyone who wants pins.
I would have rather them just been honest and said, we'll include an instruction manual as the day one pre-order bonus than this. Like, put
Yep.
effort into making instruction manuals again, and that would have gotten a better reception than, here are four pins, everybody. Also, there will be zero marketing into this game, and everyone reacted very, very well.
Nah, easy landfill. It could just go away. I'm happy with it not existing.
Yeah, there's no argument with me though. Although this is a weird one of like there's a lot of games like as I was making this list, I forgot what their pre-order bonuses were, let alone I kind of forgot what order these came in. So as a Etrian Odyssey fan, I kind of forgot that Etrian Odyssey Nexus A came out over here and B even had a release with a art book, CD, and a pen. Now, I'm not sure what your ties with Etrian Odyssey are, but how did you feel about that, or where would you kind of rank this?
See, so Etrian is good. I fell into Etrian. I'm not like super big into it, but I definitely have been playing it a bit just because it's the same team that made Strange Journey. So I just wanted to see what they did, sort of deal. I like that pin. It's like I think it's a pin of I don't know Vivian. Um, it came with art book, I think, and I think that's it, right?
Well, it did have a CD, and anything with
Oh, okay.
Yuzo Koshiro is at least you got to give the at least like C level. And this is what
Yeah,
I kind of want your opinion of because there's a lot of these, and I don't want us to just kind of be a broken record. We're gonna see, especially for 3DS games, of the here's a art outside cardboard box, a CD, and either a art book or maybe a poster and sticker. I like that
yeah.
set as like a you paid $0 extra for this, but it also is almost in most cases never going to get higher than a C for me because that's like the bare minimum.
Yeah, and also I'm not really a huge fan of like these big boxes because unless the box is like different art and it's not just the same art again, which this one is the same art
Yeah, no,
again.
that's all of them. Yeah, they always just do.
Yeah.
It's the same art, but with a free stuff inside. And the thing is, like, I don't know if it's just like the collector gods getting revenge on us or something. Those outer boxes just always go to shit after like 5 years. No matter what you do on your
Yeah.
shelves, they always just become crinkle heaven.
Yeah, I bought two Persona Q collector's editions because I was like, oh, I'm just gonna buy two of everything, and both were damaged. Both arrived damaged, thanks to Amazon.
I'll
But,
I'll say this though about that. That and the same thing can be said about Q2. That is a nice box. It has zero structural integrity. Those
yeah,
3DS
it's a
collector
nice look.
boxes are terribly put together.
No, yeah, that's it's always aesthetically pleasing on the outside, but please don't touch me. I'm sensitive.
There's only one like Atlas book that is more like I look at it and it fell apart. Like literally I have a Atlas collector's edition we're going to get to that I have never been rough with. I've always kept in immaculate condition and it literally falls apart if I look at it too wrong.
Which one is that? Persona 3 one?
No. It is a Vita game, but we'll get to it eventually because
Okay.
it's weird because I love it a lot, but it definitely has like
Yeah,
terrible integrity.
you're gonna have to carry a lot of these non like Megaten things like Alliance whatever.
Alliance Alive? You mean the famous Atlas game that John Harden leaked on our show that 5 people cared about?
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, but like going to like the Etrian one, and we're gonna give a lot of these. I love it. I knew as soon as I started doing this, I would think of games that I forgot to put on here. For the 5 people out there, I don't have Etrian Mystery Dungeon, but just know I do love it, and it is gonna be up there with all the other ones of these. But that's a great game, and shame on them for not giving us the sequel. For these, are you fine with the C? Do you think it needs to be lower? Like, when it's just that kind of like, hey, it's a good game, here you go. Is C giving it too much by saying it's the average? Or, like, what do you think?
I feel like for the most part there's C. I can't think of anyone that's like amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing about Nexus is I really did like the pin. Like it's just a weird gimmick that I enjoy. Is like when they add something like that that's a physical thing. Also that I probably would never use, but I would lower Odyssey 5 to like D because that one doesn't have an art book. I think it's just a CD. For the launch edition.
You're right. Yeah, that one was
No,
just
no,
that.
it has the art book. Never mind.
Oh no, it was the 2-in-1 where they would sometimes do that of like it's like oh it's this but this. See, but then you get to the weird ones like we're gonna get to like with Stella Glow where like here's a really awkwardly long box and we threw a poster in there. And it's like, okay, yeah. I guess my collection will never look uniform, but thank you. So this one I know we've talked about privately before. I have constantly shit on this thing for years, but this just has to be. If not, I mean, I'm just going to put it in there before I even say what it is. The Persona 5 and Persona 3 Dancing Special Endless Night Collection is the worst Atlus West Collectors anything they've ever made.
I'm conflicted on it.
I want to hear your thoughts. Obviously, I put it there, and if you don't agree, I want to hear all your thoughts. But I need you to just like give me your raw, unhinged feelings on this, please.
Okay, there's like 4 big things I think about. One, I've always loved that GameStop. I'm posting the link because GameStop has never used a good resolution image. You can't read what it says, and I think it's so funny. So that's like one thought. Like, why is it like that? It's so funny. I think that I like what was the MSRP, like $70 or 80?
120. 120.
100. Oh, okay,
Because
never
remember,
mind.
they were
Yeah.
60 a piece, and they were like, dude,
Mm,
we're throwing in a third game. Like, they acted like they were doing us a favor. But if you remember, a lot of people got in on this, and same as me, there was a Amazon error that stayed up for like a whole day, and everyone who got it was price matched. It went up at $60 MSRP. So, because Amazon didn't know the difference between Dancing All Night, Dancing Star Night, Dancing Moon Night, or Dancing Endless Connection, so they just threw them all up at 60, and I got it in at the price error of 60 for the whole thing, and even at that
mhm.
price, it was still too much money for 3 games, and I love all of
Yeah,
these games.
I feel like it's just a huge miss because there's nothing. What else is there? It's literally just the 3 games. That's it, right? Like I don't remember there being an art book.
No, that's the thing! Its whole thing is this.
Oh, it does have an art
It
book.
is encased in an art book. There's no case. It is a art book for both games, and we are using the word art book very loosely.
Liberally.
It
Yeah.
is a collage of PNGs of every character who you can dance as, and then at the very end, in a plastic, I guess, bathroom, if you must, for the metaphor, they couldn't even be bothered to have 2 disc slots for each disc, so they are just stacked on top of each other, raw dogging each other in the most disappointing, sad situation of like. By the way, the paper terrible. Going back to the terrible binding, was a terrible binding job that like you could like fold 90 degrees and it would like act like you were doing the splits to it. Uh, the art with it was nice for the outer cover. Like what is kind of funny is they never
Yeah.
advertised it, like because they just used the Japanese Sojima drawing of like all the characters for it. It looked nice, but like this was just like the art book wasn't an art book, so it failed on that one. The quality of everything was terrible. The price was horrific. This thing costs as much as SMT5's collector's edition. Let that sink in. And then the other weird thing that I've always hated, and I swear they're gonna correct this next month. Like they have got to change this eventually. I know people don't think that this is a big deal. The fact that Persona 4 Dancing on PS4 is digital exclusive worldwide is the most crazy thing to me of all time. That Atlus
Yeah.
Japan remastered a Vita game in-house at their own studio. They remastered this in-house and not Nocturne. Not even Golden. They remastered this in-house. Digital only, though.
Yeah.
And you had to buy a collector's edition. Not like you can buy it like on its own. It is stuck in this collector's edition bundle, or else you will never be able to play it. So it's like everything that could go wrong with this, it went wrong outside of the games itself.
Yeah. And it's pretty terrible because comparatively, the Japanese collector's edition, I think it's called the All Star Triple Pack.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 100, 500, or $150 or so, and it comes with all 3 games. It comes with the entire soundtrack, so it's 60 songs.
It is a 4-disc beefy soundtrack box.
Yeah.
It is awesome.
It's missing art, which I would have liked the concept art stuff because one of the P Studio people talks about how excited they were to kind of fit all these different characters into like famous like Atlus title character like outfits. So one of the people actually made sure that they all kind of made sense, like the DLC like uniforms and outfits is what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's like a person who drew these and decided, okay, this fits well on this character. I would like to have seen that because, like, imagine seeing like a high quality drawing of like who was something like Yusuke is, I think, Shin Megami Tensei 1 hero. Like, I just wanted to see, like, I want to see that official sketch, you know. But
Well,
they don't.
It just sucks because like these games have I don't think people understand because they're rhythm games. Well, because they think of them as just rhythm games. These games have insane amount of production work that went into them. Like there's not
Yeah.
a half-assed thing in the actual aspects of these games. Like even if they wanted to cheap out and they threw in a Blu-ray or a DVD, put in behind the scenes of the choreography. Like just talking to the people who worked on this game, like the choreography to make a single song was a Herculean effort, and there was like something like almost 50 songs. Like you could have just like shown like, hey, here's how we made a song, here's how we modeled the rigs, here's how we danced, and like here's how we made a Vita version compared to the 60 frames PS4 version. Talk about VR, fucking do it. Like there's a bajillion things they could have done, even spending way less money than this. And it was like, and like the last thing I'll say is this, and I know you know people who work at Atlus still. I know people who work at Atlus still. Have you ever brought this up to people you know who work at Atlus still?
No, actually.
So I highly recommend, if anyone ever knows anyone who works at Atlus West, I've never been proven wrong on this. Ask them what is their thoughts on this, and universally, I have always heard it is like literally the worst thing they've ever produced, and that is by their accords. They're like, no, that's like the worst thing we've ever made. Like they are not proud of that.
It's really disappointing. I wish there was a lower tier than landfill because it is awful. Like I remember canceling my Amazon order, and then luckily it was showed up on like I think it was GameStop that was selling it for like $30.
Oh yeah, the same with the Japanese one. Just because of how bad these sold, they are still trying to get rid of them. Like it is the least rare thing you will ever find in an Atlus collection.
Yeah, exactly. So bad. Shame on them, but
I mean, at least they learned. That was at least one of... If there was anything to take away from this, I think that being their low point and fans really letting them know... Like, there's no defenders of this. There's no one no one who's going to listen to this, whether it be now or in the future, who's like, guys, but that JPEG of Junpei. It was a great Junpei JPEG. It's like, no one's going to be roast for this one. So this is going to be weird. I don't know how much you have to say about Dragon's Crown. How did you feel about Dragon's Crown Pro? Because I'm kind of on maybe the minority in terms of my opinion for Dragon Crown Pro's pre-order bonus.
It's the tarot cards, right? Or well, not
it
really
is
tarot
the
cards.
metal case that is super embossed, like horrendously embossed, like because you know how all of Vanillaware's art is extremely like lots of edges, especially with like the abs and the muscles for all the characters, very defined anatomy being embossed onto a metal case. It looked like a heavy metal 3D cover from like the 1980s. It was not like Heavy Metal albums. The movie Heavy Metal was a 3D like metal case cover. It was really, really ugly to me, but it did also come with these like mini tarot cards. They were very, very small. This is so like I remember I saw this and I love Dragon's Crown. I saw this and I said, I'm not buying this until they make a not limited edition of this. I wasn't going to buy it until I couldn't get the metal case. That's how bad it was. I didn't even want it in my collection.
It's also something that's like ridiculously cheap. So I think you can get it for like $35,
$20,
$40,
$20 brand new.
Yeah, it's. I don't mind it. I just don't have any strong feelings about it. I'm not someone who likes steelbooks. You're the steelbooks guy.
Well, that's the thing. It's not. It's a ugly not steelbook. Like if it was a bad steelbook, that would be one
metal
thing.
Case,
They couldn't even be bothered to make a ugly steelbook. They had to make a ugly, cheap Chinese knockoff steelbook. Like, it just sucks because Vanillaware's art. You can't fuck up Vanillaware's art. I'm sorry, I found out putting it on a crappy, not metal case and embossing it to hell looks really, really bad. But the thing that sucks is, like, it's for what it's going out to do, it's fine. I've known a million people, not a million, I've known tons of people who are very happy with this. It came in a fun collector's case for them, and they like the shiny cards. So, like, I don't think it's trash. I just think it's like Spencer bait. Like, this is Spencer bait to make me hate something that I love.
Yeah, I'm always disappointed when anything is in the steelbook style, and then you read the fine print and it says metal case. So that's already instant D for me.
Yeah,
just for
I was thinking D as well, because even for like what it came with at $50, it just wasn't really a good sell. And it's for the fact that they still can't get rid of it to this day. I will say this though, and I've always been meaning to make like you ever have like dumb ideas for a video, but you know they're not long enough to actually warrant being made a video?
Yeah.
I have a couple of like little ones like that. I should just do a stupid TikTok for or something, because like they, for whatever reason, last year at the end of 2020 reprinted it finally after almost 2 years. Like basically, kind of like around the same time or a little after 13 Sentinels, they finally printed in the West a standard blue PS4 case copy of this. And that
Mm-hmm.
second printing is more rare than this day one limited edition.
Oh wow.
Well, because like they just did like the bare minimum of like, hey, let's put a couple extra copies out. There's another Vanillaware game out. People might want to check out the other Vanillaware game, because there's a bajillion copies of Odin Sphere, but they didn't really print a lot of Dragon's Crown Pro just because it didn't really catch much attention for it. But I just thought it was so funny. Like after waiting so long, I never thought I'd be so excited to not, like to just get a regular like case for something, which is just like the most not me thing ever. But at the very least, it is like a fun. I don't know. I always find like when second printings are more rare than the first ones, like kind of interesting, at least for me.
Yeah, it's at least interesting. I get that. Yeah.
So Dragon's Crown, I don't remember if you remember this. Do you remember the
Yep.
Dragon's Crown artworks?
Yep, I have it in my car. I actually flipped through it.
What is
a bit.
not in your car? Your car needs like a MTV Cribs tour video.
I do. I will say that I've minimized how much random collectible junk's in my car, but I do keep this one in there because I've always liked Vanillaware artwork. This it's like a beefy book. It's like 200 something pages, or was it 64? No, 64 pages.
Well, okay, sorry. Yeah, it's 64. There is an official artworks that Udon did translate and do. That's like a big horizontal big book. This is like, this was the pre-order. Hey, if you bought a copy, you get this thing.
Okay, well I have both, so I don't have this one in my car then. But I did like this one as well because 64 pages is significantly more than what most just limited edition or pre-order bonus books tend to be. They usually are in the 30 to 40 range of pages.
Well, and they did my favorite thing with this one. If they said, "Well, fuck this. This doesn't have to be tied to the game case." So it is the size of a book. Like they weren't like, "Hey, make sure it fits in a Vita copy or something." They were like, "No, ship a bunch of books to retailers and they'll sort it out as they did." And it was just like one of the nice things of like it takes all the things of it. Oh, by the way, as a fellow paper nerd, great cardstock on that one. Like every page is really thick, feels really nice. It's a good cover. And
it's not like, I think one mistake people tend to do is they tend to go for a gloss paper, which is like stupid.
Fingerprint
art,
magnets, man. Fingerprint magnets can't do it. But like
and this one's
nice. Even the other thing of like my favorite thing about the whole stuff is even that it's like minuscule page count for not being a full art book gives us a lot of concept art, gives us a lot of those promo images and artist collabs that a lot of Vanillaware games get that you sometimes never see in the West, and even at the very end showing, because Dragon's Crown had a crazy production lifeline beginning as a Sega Saturn game, showing the original like concept art for that Sega Saturn game all the way back into 2013 was so cool to see.
I think the one thing that got it for me was when some of the poses, because it shows like all the different poses for each character. It literally like has like poses they made for attacks that they just are like for like actions that they just didn't use. So it'll like say in quotes or something like didn't use or something. And I don't know why that's amusing to me, but it's like so cool to see how far into the finish, like they finished this and they were like, no, this is not gonna work, or we're not gonna give the mage this attack. So I don't know. That's like an easy B at least for me. I very much enjoyed that. Like,
I could not agree more. B is very good. It's like it does nothing offensive. It's not something that if you miss out, you're definitely like you're not missing out on anything like kind of crazy for it. But like that was like part of like the good old days for like, oh man, like this is a great pre-order bonus. I really appreciate this. I need you to talk about the next one because if I do, I will just hijack this entire show.
Let's see. Is this the Take Your Heart edition?
No, that is just the Steelbook.
I didn't like it. That's like I'm
really?
Not a Steelbooker.
Okay, no, please go on. I want to hear.
So I think this is actually a Steelbook. It's not just a Steelbook style or metal case, whatever.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
It's an actual Steelbook. I did like the use of the Delinquents art. I think that's the name of that art piece on the cover. I love that it's I love the way that they printed it. It makes it way more dynamic. I don't really care for the insert or the inside art. It's kind of like whatever. Yeah, I'm not big on steelbooks, so for me, even though it's printed well and everything, I would just give it a C. I don't. I'm looking on my Amazon and it says that I bought this 2 times, so apparently I liked it enough to buy it twice, but I don't like it. So
I'm I'm like I like it as, hey, it's a cool Atlas steelbook, especially because this at the time was the second Atlas steelbook they'd ever done. So it was just kind of cool as a concept to get for a pre-order bonus that everyone got. But its design, while I like how the layout looks, it's kind of going back to what we said, art covers, super glossy, like just the fingeristy finger pregnant. And because there's so much
yeah,
kind of dark colors and silvers, it really kind of picks up. So I like it, but I'm not going to fight to make it a B, just because I think there are better steelbooks kind of out there. And the design is like, I half love it. Because like
yeah,
what I like that Atlas West likes to use the full art for the outer cover. I think that's a really interesting step that Japan definitely doesn't use. But at the same
mm-hmm.
time, the centerpiece leaves a lot to be desired. Of like, it just goes back to that thing of someone did Google image search, find a bunch of art assets for all the characters, and shot them into a bunch of random places. Like that,
Yeah,
it felt like very little kind of thought went into the middle, while all of it went into the exterior.
yeah, exactly. And there's even better steelbooks within the Atlas canon. So yeah,
So our
I
next
don't
one we
know.
have is not even out yet, but I had to include it. So this is just the SMT5 pre-order steelbook. So I love how this looks. Now we're not ranking the Japanese steelbook that comes with the GEO pre-order bonus, but I think in this one, I love it a lot more for the fact of I'm a huge fan of the cover art in general for 5. I think 5 is such an interesting cover and the way that it uses its primary colors, and especially with, as we've seen with all the coverage and stuff, the duality of Nahabino with the main character. I think having the protagonist side of him on one side of the steelbook and then the Nahabino form on the other, like, just perfectly kind of fits the theming of that. Like, they could have easily have just shown, here's all the character art in the middle, but I think having him just be in that middle really like makes a statement that I really like. Not like A or S tier like, but at least like a B. But I'm curious, like, as someone who's not a big Steelbook fan, how does this one kind of fancy as opposed to like the P5 one we just talked about?
I mean, I agree with your inside take. The inside casing is intelligent design, not too showy, and it's also using that, like you said, the juxtaposition of his like that form and or his normal schoolboy form and the Nahabino form. Um, I almost think like first of all, I don't like the cover art for SMT5. I think it's too busy looking and it doesn't look like a cover, or and there's like you know how like in like a superhero movie when the entire team is attacking, there's always like this awkward thing where if they're attacking they have to be like actually targeting something, and this one they're like all attacking or doing some sort of action, but I can't like it doesn't make any sense to me logically. So like you have Nahobino flying towards the audience and swiping a sword. Amanazako
You're
doing some
that
sort of
person
wind
on
skill.
Twitter who like looks at looks at a '90s Marvel comic cover and goes, "How does that person walk? How does that person like get from
Exactly.
point A to point B?"
And it's like I like juxtapose that with this with like the Shin Megami like the Nocturne, not the box art, but like the death art where it has like him surrounded by demons and all the action makes sense because they're all like focused on Demi-Fiend. So like for this one it's like so weird. I would have preferred if they had some different art that was like if the inside was actually the protagonist and Algami, and the outside was a new art piece of Nahobino, or maybe just the Nahobino tattoo thing, our image or something. I would have liked that a lot more. But even though that's a little more on the nose,
I will say this, and I'm buying both, so it doesn't really make much of a difference. How do you feel about the Japanese Steelbook's inside artwork being that piece we saw revealed on the Famitsu cover? Of, like, it's just a wide shot of Nahabino with, like, I think it's like the gold background.
it's yeah, and he's doing that like
The finger
suture
pose. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot, dude. Actually, that could have been the cover. Algami and like schoolboy protagonist in the inside, and that could have been the cover art for
I
the English. Oh my god!
I like that as the cover, but that gets to like a weird problem. Like, and I kind of do this with Nocturne. If you have no idea what the fuck this game's about, what the fuck does that cover tell you? It's it's like that
True.
cover tells you no. Like if anyone ever comes up to me, and this day will never happen. If someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, what's Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster about?" I'm like, I don't know, fucking guy with mustard on his face. That cover tells you nothing, and the back's not helping you any better. But like, at least I kind of look at the like current like box art for it of like for me, and obviously everyone interprets it differently. I kind of get almost like a flower kind of thing of like, so Nahabino was like the center bud, and all of the demons and all the other beasts around them are kind of like spraying out of them of like, well, no, of like saying like, hey, these are the different paths that this game can take you on with each of these different like gods and demons and creatures.
In terms of that, SMT4 cover art did it better then, because that it did exactly what you're saying.
I don't know,
But
the SMT4 one I love in terms of it looks great, but it does the fucking motif of like you look at it and go, okay, I know who's good and I know who's bad. What I love about the color scheming of all the characters you've seen as 5 is no one's been like, oh yeah, yellow guy's good guy, yeah, scarf girl, bad girl, yeah, green's bad.
so where are we putting this steelbook?
I think B is
B?
at least
Oh, yeah.
just because it's like it's doing a little bit better. I'm just a sucker for Switch steelbooks, especially just because they're such a weird shape in terms of God, they have so much empty space on the inside, but they're just so fun to collect. Um,
Yeah. My only criticism is that it is not optional to buy just a standard. So that kind of sucks if you're someone who actually wants a standard. But
that'll be out there. Like, there's gonna be a bajillion
yeah,
copies of this game printed. That being said, though, especially because you talked about you weren't a fan of the steelbook, I really want to know what you think of the next one being the P5 Collector's Edition, because I don't love this.
I would rank it like D. So okay, so here's the I can't rant too much because it's gonna take a long time. But I find so where the Koromaru feels like a good quality, the Morgana is like super cheap. The bag that comes with it has no utility because I used that as a gym bag and it lasted about a week.
I don't. Yeah, dude, I was gonna say how the hell did you use it as a gym bag? Or I know
Yeah,
you're not a tiny guy.
it was just supposed to have my change of clothes, which is basically all you can carry in it. So it has like as a guy, I could not find utility. Maybe if you're gonna use it as a purse or something, it might. But it's really cheap. The zipper broke very quick. They had so much surplus of every piece of this that for the Anime Expo of that year, if you bought enough, like so, let's say if you paid like $40 at the Atlus booth, they would give you the bag. If you paid $50, they'd give you the art book as a pre-order, as just a you bought stuff bonus. They were just giving these away to get rid of them essentially, and I don't think any of it was particularly good. The art book was kind of just okay. The like I said, the Morgana plush was too low quality for me, and the bag had no utility. So for me, if the things that are in the steelbook are in the collector's edition don't work or like for what they're supposed to be, then there's no point in making it. So I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's like it kind of goes back to the Q2 one for me of like I'm gonna go D as well. Everything it's doing pretty bad outside of the steelbook. The bag sucks. The plushie is like dollar store level quality. It's like literally like Wish could have copied this and probably made a little bit of a higher quality thing. And this is a weird one just in terms of display. I absolutely hate this, and people have heard me bitch about it before. I hate that when you have its outer sleeve, like when you buy it, it's a vertical collector's edition box that is horrifyingly long to keep in the sleeve and display. But if you take it out, it's a wide collector's edition box. But then what am I doing with this weird vertical sleeve?
Yeah, it's super bizarre. I forgot to mention there's also the CD. I don't remember how many songs are on the CD. I think it's only
it's less than 10. It's like the most. It literally looks like someone just like did a scatter shot of like 5 shuffle tracks and threw them on there. There was like no rhyme or reason, and then like it goes back to the art book of like that art book just like it's like if I made my mom had to pick 30 pages out of a P5 like art book. It's like they're fine. Like, they're not great. The quality's meh. The binding is really cheap again. So it just goes to that thing of, like, cool collector's
Yeah.
edition, but it failed in a lot of executions. I feel like in a trend we're noticing of, like, I feel like when they get really busy with these collector's editions, the overall quality for a lot of the items fail.
Yeah, which I don't know. Like I'm seeing people in the chat, by the way, saying that they still use their bag and it works fine. So I don't know. Maybe maybe me, like, all I would carry in my bag was just my gym clothes. I would open the bag, take out my gym clothes and my bottled water. So I don't know what about walking from my car to the locker room and back was like wearing it out, but it wore out like very quick. I had two of them because um
You buy two of
so when
everything.
well, not. I mean, I had two of them that I used. I have like six of them because the guy who worked the Atlus booth was like, "Oh, here," and they just gave me a bunch of those things, like a bunch of the art books, a bunch of the plushes, because they knew that I collected them, and I was like, "Cool," but at the same time, like, no.
I get that, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Infamous 2 Collector's Edition. I literally still
Yep.
have that, and it is my go-to gym bag. That is a great Collector's Edition bag, and was great for gym trips.
Wait, which one?
Infamous 2 gave you
Oh,
Cole's
okay.
bag, and it's like a
It's a really good bag. Yeah, that one's weirdly
great
good.
bag. Great bag quality.
Weirdly good bag. Yeah.
So we're gonna shotgun through like the Etrian games because we pretty much had that discussion 9 times. Etrian Odyssey 5, cool C. Alliance
Yeah.
Alive, I dare someone to tell me they played that game. Radiant Historia, I want to give a D, but just because it gives you the sticker thing, I hate stickers. Are you going to
Stickers
defend
bad,
Radiant Historia?
Perfect Chronology is the one with.
Yes.
And it's a launch bonus, right? I think it's a C or D.
So this
D,
one's
it's a
this
D.
is a weird one because there's a couple I probably missed, but the OG Radiant Historia did come with a CD. But that's just a CD, and then goes to like the super tiny sampler thing.
Yeah, no thanks.
Okay.
And the thing that gets me about these stickers is when they call them decals to make them sound more high quality, and they do that with Radiant Historia. The package literally says decal sheets, and I'm like, bruh, these are stickers. Like, don't
listen,
lie.
listen, LaRue, my record breaker decals are gonna stay on my car for the next 100 years.
Ugh, I can't wait to go to those.
So this might not be another solo one of me having to talk about these next 4, so I have no idea. Do you any thoughts at all on Utawara Ramono's pre-order bonuses?
Nope, you gotta go through those. I don't.
Okay.
I don't have those.
I love. Oh, by the way, you're gonna regret that. All of these games are really fucking expensive now. Even the NIS ones. This entire series has become. Hey, do you want to get into this game? Every game's $100 or delisted. Thanks, Atlus. So Utawara Ramono 2 came with a 30-something page art book. Normally, for like a whatever art book, I'm fine with it. The art is really interesting, especially because it is a visual novel. I liked it for that, and that it actually came in a larger box, making it feel a little bit more premium, but at the end of the day, it is a C. Utawara Ramono 3, though, I kind of wish kept that tradition going. It gave us a body pillow, but that only fit regular pillows. So it's like, it's a throw pillow, but it's also designed to be like the torso of an anime girl. So it like looks like, oh, I'm into body pillows, but I don't like vaginas or legs. So you kind of fail at being a fun, pervy item, and are just like a weird pillowcase I'm never going to use. So I gotta give you landfill, even though like, I know Atlus thought that was so funny, but like, outside of Catherine, like, pillowcases for you guys have just not really worked out. I'm sorry to break it to you.
Yeah, pretty much.
King of Fighters 14, any thoughts at all?
Nope. You're gonna have to.
Okay, this is one I'm gonna give a lot of weird bonus credit for. So, Steelbook, A tier. It's a great steelbook, clean art, removed a lot of logos, nice stage for the inside, looks really, really good, great set, just a bonus. Also, it was Atlus's first steelbook ever as a company, so that got a lot of bonus points. S tier collector's edition. We're starting our S tier with King of Fighters 14. Let me just sell you this. It was for like 20 or 30 extra bucks. You got the steelbook, you got an entire artworks, not a art book. Udon was contracted to make an artworks in English for this unreleased game, and it was only in the collector's edition. And it is an amazing, like, 200-page art book. Great quality. And then the cherry chef kiss on top, a 3+ CD soundtrack. Full soundtrack, whole game. It was like, man, someone at SNK told Atlus, hey, don't fuck this up. Make this a good release. And the fact that the game's even great too was like, okay, perfect. Yeah, this was just a top tier Atlus Collector's Edition that no one ever talks about because everyone thinks of KOF and SNK.
Sounds good.
So I need you to talk about the next one because it'll be very fast, and I love SMT4 Apocalypse, but I really don't love its pre-order bonus.
I hate buttons. The pins are okay, but they're super cheap. Everyone that I've never used mine, but everyone that I have known to have worn them said they fell off or fell apart. That when I say everyone, I mean like all of 5 people. The only reason why I like this pre-order bonus is that I bought like 4 or 5 copies of Apocalypse for $5 at Target. So, so it's not even that it's a good pre-order bonus. It's just that, I got it cheap. So buying it for MSRP, it's not worth it. It's just like literally do anything besides buttons, stickers, or pins. That's all you have to do.
I think what sucked about the Apocalypse ones as well is like because they were literally just like metal symbols and shapes, it had like no personality to it either. Like, yeah, cool emblems from a character I've not met. I can't wait to put that on my bag and have everyone wonder who these are for and what they mean.
It's not like Chie's thing where it's kind of like I think they're more iconic buttons, so someone could be like, oh, those are Chie's buttons if they're in the know. But largely, these ones are just literally like one of them's like a peace symbol, I think, right? Mm-hmm. And the other one's like an anarchy symbol. So like they're literally indistinguishable from any other peace and anarchy symbols. So
landfill,
yeah, pretty bad. Landfill for sure.
Landfill, man, it's a weird landfill we have of crappy art books, body pillows, and buttons.
Just stop making buttons. That's all you gotta do.
So I need to start jerking off Steelbook. So I don't actually think I've asked you about this. I really want. What are your thoughts on the Western Collector's Edition for SMT5? I love it, but I wonder. I could see you not loving aspects of it.
I'm cautiously optimistic. The problem with it is like to me, I factor in the accessibility. I hated the launch. It was so bad. It was very, very bad on Atlus's part, and they should feel bad because they basically screwed a bunch of like actual fans from actually being able to get it. However, I love the bag because the bag is a subtle design nod to the ones the like design for the bags they use in their school. If you look on the cover, you can literally see the protagonist holding a bag with a similar pattern, and I like that. I love the subtle Jack Frost on the bottom. I am worried. I always love sling bags too, so sling bags are like an easy win for me. The only thing is I don't think it'll be durable, but it looks like it'll fit your Switch. But putting your Switch in an undurable bag is kind of scary. I love that it's
by the way, fun fact, that originally wasn't going to be a Switch bag. Originally, the plan was to do the P5 thing, and they were like, you know what? Let's just make it for Switch things only. That way it's on theme, it's a Switch exclusive, and no one can say it's too small. Because that way it's just a carrying case.
Good. And let's see. I love the soundtrack being 2-disc, which implies more than 12 songs per disc. So I like that. I love that it's a 100-page Demon Handbook. I saw snippets of it, and it actually looks good.
The samples look promising, and I cannot believe still that we're getting it in English the same day as Japan.
Yeah, all of those factors besides the terrible introduction where it just did not go on sale when they promised, and basically like all these different websites kind of just went up randomly. I think that was kind of bad. Like not kind of, it was pretty inexcusable. But
it's gonna taint the legacy of it. Like unless they really do a 180, and I mean they've been doing a lot. Like Europe had a way more painless process. Asia's been a lot better. Australia had a
Mm-hmm.
pretty okay time, but yeah, like unless something really crazy happens a month before launch, which is possible. Like right now, it's either you love it because you got it, or you hate it because you can't.
Yeah, I would actually put this one on A tier. The only thing that it's that I want that I don't know if the Demon Handbook has is like sketches and commentary. If we can confirm that either thing are in there, then I'd put it in S tier. Like
I
it's really
don't.
good.
I've seen samples. I don't know what are
It's not
public
going
yet.
to.
I
I don't
I
think
have
it's going
seen sketches of some demons, but I don't know if that's public yet. But I'm not a cool guy who signs NDAs. But no, there are sketches for at least I've seen a demon doi sketch. But
to. Yeah.
I will say also another thing that like brings out not a lot of people have talked about. The outer box doesn't really show in the American PR shot. It's going to be a really nice big sturdy box, like a big tall sturdy box, and have that cover of 5 spread out across I think like 3 panels of the sides. So it's going to look like a really nice kind of like collector's showpiece item, and I'm really excited about that, of like committing to it being like a big nice vertical stand box.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they haven't really shown it off very much, but the Nintendo one, they showed it off with the final box design on it. So if you go to like Amazon UK or whatever, and I posted about it a couple of times for it, it's just like this like monolithic, like big old chunky box tower I'm very excited about. Do you have any thoughts on Odin Sphere's PS4 Collector's Edition? This was a weird one. Of Atlus made a Collector's Edition for a game they ported on 3 systems and only made a Collector's Edition for 1 variant.
Oh, I didn't know they only made one for one variant. I didn't know I had a collector's edition, to be honest. So I can't tell you. I just have the vanilla, not collector's edition version.
Okay, so you have the art book that came with the PS3 or Vita version.
Vita version, yeah.
Okay, so I like that art. I mean, I'm just gonna say, do you want to just put that art book in the same with the Dragon's Crown one? Of like, it's the same thing. It's a quality art book, nice print thing, good page count. I'm bringing the wrong one over into there. I really like it. The funny thing about it, the collector's edition just kind of does that and everything more. I don't think it's like great. It does this weird thing of it has a metal slip case. So it's not a steelbook, it's not a metal case. You put your plastic blue PS4 case in this metal condom that has some Vanillaware art that's like, oh, this is pretty, but why would I want a case to hold my case? It's very not functional. Nice art, not had t-shirt, but it was a large, so it didn't commit to the extra large Western video game thing, but also kind of was like weird. Like it was too big for small people, but sometimes too small for larger people. And
the art on it is ugly.
Yeah, it's going for a minimal thing I don't love. The one I give a lot of bonus points to that makes me want to at least give it an A is I love that the art book is the exact same as the one you got, but they made an exclusive one that's hardcover just for that collector's edition. I was like, I like that. As someone who knows how much fucking money it is just to make the same art book, or just any book, hardcover, it's a really appreciated thing, and I it's a collector's edition that just didn't really get a lot of love, but I think it's a nice set that has a lot of weird stuff, but overall is a really nice set.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the shirt, I just looked it up just now. Aside from the shirt being ugly, I would definitely at least give it an A tier. Sounds good.
I'm gonna mail you. I'm gonna mail you my shirt, and I want you to like do a Hulk in it. I'm sure, like with your rippling biceps, you could like Bruce Banner my shirt.
It's a waste of I don't know,
postage, postage and fabric. So if you don't like stickers and you don't like pins, I really want to know what you thought of Persona 4 Dancing's pre-order bonus just being a Vita decal.
Yeah, instant landfill.
Wow. Okay.
I also don't like I don't like those kinds of things because it tells me that I have to commit my Vita or any console to look like this forever. And I don't like that. I got a couple of decals from collector's editions and stuff, and I've always kind of been in that same impasse of, okay, I'm really gonna put this on my Vita. It's gonna be there forever. People are gonna think that I love this character a lot because it's my Vita now. I just couldn't commit to it. So there's that, and then also I just hate. I hate even the idea of having to put something on like that because I'm someone who always puts things on and messes it up. So they would have to like box it like 4 stickered decals for me to get it on right, and that's like not like that. The process alone is already enough to get me to never put it on.
So I want to give it a D, but it has too many dumb things. No, I'm not. It's already in landfill. But the reason I'm giving it landfill is because it does the dumb thing of, oh, it comes with exclusive wallpapers, and Persona 4 Golden did the same thing. No, it gave us a URL to download them. Like, it was not, there was nothing exclusive about the wallpapers that took up as much advertising space.
Link too.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing with it too is, I don't know if you have this. If you bought the standard day 1 edition of this game, it comes in the longest Vita case you've ever seen, and it just holds that extra decal skin. It's like the biggest waste of cardboard ever.
It's really dumb, and it was easily damaged too. I remember going to GameStop and seeing it pretty damaged, like seeing a couple of them on the shelves damaged, and I'm like, cool, that's nice. But then again, it's GameStop, so I don't know to the degree that they care.
That was pretty much like everywhere. It was never just a GameStop problem. Like, I like the skin for both of them. Like, they're very high quality. They are good in terms of like, they don't leave sticky residue. You can have them on for years, take them off, put them back on, and they'll still work. And they're good at protecting your Vita from getting scratched. But it was like everything else around it. It was like, I'm not gaining anything from having this. Like, it's not a fun collector's item. It didn't really... The themes weren't designed around it. Like, we'll get to it with the golden one, but like the golden like decal looked great and clean because it was very minimal. But then all the backgrounds that you downloaded from the website, they fed into the theme. So like when you would turn on your Vita, it would look like your theme went from the screen to the edge of your system. Like, that had a lot of thought put into it. Whereas this was like, hey, how could we just copy and paste this without really having to like do too much? Especially because then you had that extra weird issue of, well, this one is made for Vita 2000s, and if you have a Vita 1000, you're kind of fucked.
All right.
So yeah, landfill for sure. Next up is the one I was referring to earlier of having the worst structural integrity of any Atlus box I've ever touched in my entire life. The Dancing All Night Collector's Edition box is so weird because I love everything in it except the box.
Yeah, I have 2, and they're both broken, so...
So, like, for like, me, I don't know about you, like, what did you have on... Like, obviously, it's really, really thin, super glossy cardboard, if it even counts as cardboard. But the thing with mine, the glue always melted before the box, like, could ever, like, stay long enough. I don't know what cheap-ass glue they used.
Yeah, they decided to kind of, I don't know, go to the 99-cent only store for their stuff, because... It's like really bad, but like you said, the inside's good. It had DLC costumes. I'm not a fan of DLC, but free DLC is good. I loved that Teddy keychain. It's super durable and sturdy. It's actually in my rotation of like keychains for my like keys that I use every day. The pouch for the Vita, I didn't use it ever, but it's actually really nice. Like, I believe
another official piece of merch and accessory stuff from Japan. Like
exactly, from Japan.
If you want like Atlus fans to be like a big fan of a CE, just give everything Japan gets. Like, that's all you gotta do. If you just give us what Japan gets and tweak a couple of things, we're pretty happy. Like, the fact that this had the same CD that Japan got, the same 2-disc full soundtrack, was a 10 out of 10 already right there.
And the CDs are designed amazing. They look like shiny disco balls. Mm-hmm. So that's like easy, like at least A. I don't know. I'd probably put it in even S, to be honest.
I want to do S. I want to give it an S, but yeah, the box is so bad. I have to bring it to an A.
And there's one other thing that lowers it. It has stickers. I think the stickers were Amazon exclusive, and I hate that. I hate stickers. They're so bad.
Yeah, that was an Amazon only thing. I know you're talking about. That's why I had to leave out. God, I can only imagine how much longer we'd be here for the. Here's the GameStop pin. Here's the Best Buy Steelbook. Here's the Amazon gold-plated card.
Yeah.
Stella Glow going in the sea. You had a lot of stuff. A lot of people love you, Stella Glow, but you pretty forgetful, but not bad. Pre-order bonus thing. Um, Legend of Legacy. I think again CD or no. Yes, I did Allied Alliance. They all bleed together. A 3DS RPG. 5 people bought. 10 people played. Etrian Odyssey Untold, 2, similar thing, but kind of more spread out. Again, still
Hmm.
big box, CD, you got a pin, you're having a good time. Untold 1, same thing. CD, art book, great art, great music. I'm sure someone played these games. I'm such a weird Etrian fan of like, I love their music, I love the art, I love the design of them, but I only get into the spin offs. I never get into the mainline games, only the spin offs. So this next one, I might be. I don't know where we're gonna like line up on this one. But what are your thoughts on the Record Breaker launch set?
The that's they have stickers, so that's already
Decals. We got
a red
decals and a
flag.
CD sampler that I think maybe had 10 songs, maybe 10.
Yeah, I gotta actually like double check. 'Cause I can't remember how many songs were in the CD sampler. Even if it's sub 10, I mean, no matter how low it is, it's definitely sub 10. It's like, was it? It was a launch thing, not a pre-order, but I mean, it was like a thing that just at launch, this is what you get,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I guess I almost want to put it at D, but it doesn't really. I mean, it's really stuff I wouldn't want anyway, so I would probably put it in landfill.
I'm gonna at least bump it up to D. I like the art with it. I like that they at least included the CD. Because what's crazy is think about this: they never did anything bonus for Devil Survivor 1, 2, or Overclocked. This one finally got it. I will say this. I do remember the argument of price at launch for this, because remember, this was also $50. But I never really looked at this game as needing an excuse to be worth $50, because honestly, if you're just looking at gameplay, this is like one of the longest like Megaton games ever.
Yeah,
So I'll at least give it D just because it was nice that Devil Survivor finally got something, but it's pretty close to landfill for sure, especially because like I'm never touching those stickers, and I've known literally one person in my whole lifetime to unpeel them and use them at all. That said,
yeah.
though, I'll be very sad if this next one goes landfill. Please give me your honest
No,
thoughts
it's
on
already
Bob
A.
Teddy.
It's either A or S. A because the only reason I'd say A is just because again, like that gimmick of the half card set is either you love it or you hate it. I love it, so I want to put it in S. I love the Teddy because it's such an unusual piece. It's something you could actually use, and it fits the game because it's an arena game. It's a fighting game,
Mm-hmm.
so having a thing you can punch, quote unquote, is amazing. It's and it being Teddy is like double funny because if you hate Teddy, blow up Teddy and punch him up. If you like Teddy, blow him up and put him on your shelf. So it's
But
like,
bonus points for deflated Teddy still being canon.
yeah, and also it works because it's canon with Teddy, so it's so smart. It's the best. It's one of the best things Alice has ever done, in my opinion.
I
I would put that in S.
I like it. I want to give it an S. The only thing I won't say that it will, like, kind of kept it for me. It's just like if you remember what they looked like new, it was all
Yeah.
plastic shrink wrapped in this weird like
Yes.
half
Yeah.
J sleeve. It looks really ugly. For everything that's kind of there for. So presentationally, I think it at least gets brought down to an A. But yeah, like I don't think like you can stress enough if you've never seen one of these things in person, and I cannot imagine they're rare. Ultimax had day one copies for like multiple years on the shelves. Um, that Teddy was just so fun to just like have around. Just like it's just good background fodder. It's fun to use. It's fun to look at. It's not something that feels cheap. It's good quality. Like even almost 10 years later, I have it and it looks just as new as the day I got it. Like it's a good quality item.
Yeah. It's I just love how fun and clever it is. There's seldom a time where like there's a moment where you can even like make a thing that fits that well. I don't know.
And it's fun to just like have something that's not art book CD. Like, it's nice to have
Yep,
those moments of
exactly.
like, oh hey, this is something different, like something I can have fun with this, which you don't always get a lot.
Yeah.
So I cannot believe I forgot this one. I included random obscure JRPG 9008 on PS3 and DS. I need to get quick thoughts on you from this. Where do you rank Junpei's hat from Persona 3 Portable?
Junpei's hat also S tiered. I love
That's
that hat.
A tier, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm a jealous little boy. I bought Persona 3 Portable day one, reserved it, and I drove all over town. Never once in the state of Kansas did I ever find a retailer who got that, which is crazy because I know tons of people who got it. It wasn't exclusive to a certain store. Any retailer, if you pre-ordered it, you were supposed to get one, and I never could find one. So just because I'm a spiteful little man, I can't give it S. But that is a great, awesome, practical item that I wish I had that. And I know I'd never wear it. I got a big fucking fat head. I can't wear it. My head is too big for it. I just want it because that's a fun collector's item, and I never will.
If it makes you feel any better, I got 2 of them. So.
All right. I'll whenever I start moving into your car to live there in the cold seasons, I'll find a hat and I'll make it my own. So I'm at least glad you like. I remember that was one of those ones of like I had to remind myself while making this list today of like, was that a real pre-order bonus? Like, it was because it had been so long and it wasn't like like back in those days, like they didn't really advertise that stuff, you know.
Yep, it was so it's such an unusual item, um, but it makes so much sense. It's not like the most logical thing for them to do for Persona 3 Portable. They could have done like female protagonists like hairpins or something, but
Headphones or something. But like,
yeah,
and honestly, even a hat is not a cheap pre-order bonus. Like that had to
it's
cost some
definitely
money.
not, yeah. And it's and the thing is, it's a very good quality hat. Like I said, I have 2, so I wore one for quite a bit, and it's not bad. It's not poorly made at all. It's very nice.
Design wise, it's got to be like the
yeah,
easiest thing ever to print. I need a blue
yeah,
hat with
for
3
sure.
circles.
And but that's the thing is you can always cheap out on the embroidery, but they didn't. It's actually really nice.
That's nice. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I have not seen one of those hats in forever, but I'm glad that like you like still like have yours and they hold up. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
P5R Steelbook. I kind of want to like.
Yes, you can talk on it because I don't have much to say. You
I
already
like
kinda
I
know.
like it. I want to at least give it a B, similar to like it's a little better than P5, and only for the fact that they did the bold choice that I've only seen actually like 2 or 3 other games use, where it uses the back of the case for the front. So like because Joker's face is on the left, you're not gonna like have the like front of the case be what's actually on the front. Like, do you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to describe.
Yeah, no, it's like manga style, left to right instead
Mm-hmm.
of right to
I,
left
I
or whatever.
really I really really like that. I think it works way better here than in the case of like Strikers and stuff, mostly just because of like the art choice they used for it. But looks nice, included a theme. Hey, whatever. The steelbook was just like it's bright, it's colorful, it looks way better than the Japanese one. I was thinking, okay, it's cool, it's gonna hold up. Probably gonna be like more of a weird collector's thing. The next one I really need your thought on. Do you even remember the?
Landfill.
Do you, oh, hold on. Do you even remember the Persona 4 Arena CD? Like, I had to
Yeah.
like scrounge that this was like included with all copies, which it was. It was just like plastic wrapped to the back of them all. Like, and I still have
Yeah.
my copy, but I can't think of a less remembered collector's item.
Because it's dumb. Like I
So
don't.
it's really weird. It's got like 6 or 8 tracks. I want to give it at least this. I want to give it a D, and you can hear me out and say I'm wrong, and I'll put it in landfill. But I want to at least throw this out to the court. Can we give it a D? Because it's literally all arranged songs that aren't even in the game. They're exclusive to that CD. I appreciated that of like, oh, that's cool. Like, it has purpose because these are songs inspired by the game that aren't in the game, though.
See, that's the thing is I'm conflicted by that because for me, the idea of like it being exclusive to the CD has always been a mixed bag. They did that a couple times, and in this case, I mean, I don't even like the mixes for some of them. I think it literally is just 6 songs. Um, I mean, if you want to put in D, I'm not gonna fight you. I just my only memory of this is that you literally frequent the store that sells like old games and used games and whatever. And there was a time where I like they would just give me this CD. Like I had like they gave me like 3 of these CDs because they just had them, and they were like, no one wants these, and we don't know what to do with them. And I'm like, okay, like thank you, I guess.
If you'll allow me to put it at D, it's literally almost more like I just have this weird nostalgic memory of like I played those tracks a lot, and I have this weird memory of I remember picking it up because I had to walk to the mall all the time. I don't even know if I drove when this came out. I probably did or whatever. I lived so close to like where I would pick up my games that I would just walk to it that I brought a CD player to listen to the CD on the walk home. And I remember the final track lined up perfectly for when the game installed on my PS3. And I was just like, it was like the hype. It was like a pre-hype, like lead-in to the game. And I was like, oh my god, I'm so ready. There was like Arena. I think looking back on it, if you're not a fan or like weren't there at the time, it seems weird that that was a big game. But both of those games, man, I just hold in such high regards. They're just so fun and so weird.
Yeah, they're very like of I don't know. It's if they're special, I guess is the best way to put it. Not a condescending way, like in a good way.
So next one, have you even played Tears of Tiara or Tears of Tiara
Nope.
2 or whatever the heck it's called?
Nope.
It's just an art book. It's really flimsy. It does the bare minimum. It's like the art's okay. Aquaplus does an alright job for it, but like it was just like kind of whatever. I'm gonna throw it in landfill of like nothing against the game. It just kind of felt like someone felt they had to do something for this weird late PS3 game no one wanted to play, and it's like I hold no special feelings for this at all. It's like toss it in the landfill, give me some new like plywood or whatever.
Yeah.
Conception 2. Please tell me you have thoughts on Conception 2.
It's one of the few things I have that's in my collection still.
I liked you for a reason. Thank you.
I'll be. I'm gonna just go ahead and go on the defensive and say that I actually don't hate Conception 2.
We
I know that
are a conception friendly household. I love it, and the CD certified banger. This has a great OST.
My only thing is the collector's edition is kind of whatever. Like I don't love the collector's edition.
Well,
Like,
I probably should have phrased it. I'm fighting for a C because I think Conception gets a lot of shit for like literally just being Conception. Like I think it is a very good C at best, even though it is literally just a CD in an extra big case.
yeah. I think it's the full soundtrack though, right?
No, it is like again
No.
like another like 15 something tracks or whatever. So it's the sampler thing again, but I don't know, man. Just I love that soundtrack. It's such a weird game. What a weird history.
I don't have enough in me to fight you on it, but I'm looking at the prices of it. I'm like, man, it's still not valuable.
Conception probably not going to be for a while. I don't know if this is going to be like an instant slam dunk S, but just tell everyone out there, what are your thoughts in the year 2021 of the SMT5 Day 1 edition? Sorry, SMT4 Day 1 edition.
Let's see. That one I remember it has some art. Like it came with like a weird strategy guide / art book.
They have contacted. Yeah. It's a half official Prima strategy guide, half art book.
Yeah, which I think is a very interesting premise. I do like that it uses different art and it's actually the package design for the art book or strategy / art book. Good. That's like that is it's a competent thing. It's not amazing, but it's good. The Japanese version has a similar thing, but it's not as good as the English version.
Yeah, it's weird because it's a hardcover art sound collection, but it has way less art. And the CD, I think, actually has less songs, or it might be the exact same. But the funny thing is, like, even though it's a hardcover book, it's got like less than 20 pages. It's really thin.
Yeah, which is a waste of like, yeah, it's a waste. I like this sound collection thing because it's not like the way that it's titled is super misleading because it makes you just immediately think it's gonna be SMT4 music, but it's actually like a series like CD. It kind of plays into the thing you talked about earlier about exclusive music. But except in this case, I actually like it.
Well, I mean,
um,
especially at the time, it's like, hey guys, listen to these songs for games we're never gonna put out. Like, all right, I like this.
yeah, my only complaint with it is that the CD art and case doesn't show you that it's actually just Megaton or SMT music, not SMT4 music, because it has like the three main characters on the cover and it says SMT4 all over it, and it's like, well, if this is a soundtrack of like just SMT songs, definitely don't market it this way and like package it
I
this way.
I blame that on being like. I love that they included classic SMT tracks. I think that's an awesome thing to have done, especially because remember, this is a $50 just regular edition. This wasn't a collector's edition. This was every copy of SMT4 came with all of this. But the weird thing about it though is like it wasn't an anniversary year. So like
Yeah,
they didn't make a logo for the release of SMT4 celebrating the franchise. So they were probably in a weird spot of like, well, we want to remember the history, but we also don't want to give them the entire soundtrack. So it was kind of like you're right. It looks a little like misleading, but like I think as like a overall package, especially for $50, man, like
yeah.
I think it's great. I think it's like it's one of those weirdly like it holds up great. It still is a fun, cool piece of history. Again, when are we ever going to get a half strategy guide art book ever again?
Like probably never. My only the only pockmark on its for me is that the the big case that everything comes packaged in. Again, it's the same art that's on the cover of the actual 3DS case, and I always hate that. So I would actually mark it like to like an A instead of an S, or even or a B instead of an A. Um,
I'm
it's 8 songs on that on that CD, which seems like would be bad, but again, it's like 8 songs from the franchise, not 8 songs just from like SMT4. So I don't know.
I'm thinking A of just because like
All right,
overall, yeah, like the few things definitely knock it down from it, but goes up there.
yeah, it's at least an A. That's fine.
Immediately getting knocked down. Hilarious to think both of these games came out in the same year. The Soul Hackers CD. I love that CD, but it's also one of those things of I don't think this is a great pre-order item. Like what do you how would you rank or what are your thoughts on the Soul Hackers CD?
If I remember correctly, I don't remember how much music is on the CD, but I just don't think it's very good because it just was packaged ugly. Like this one got damaged for me, but again, I don't know if it was just me having bad luck.
I would say
Um,
at the very least not landfill just because it is Soul Hackers, but man, it's really close. Like he's at the edge of the dump. He's at the edge of the dumpster. Like if it wasn't for the
yeah,
fact that it's Soul Hackers, it should be in the dumpster.
and I think it's an arranged CD, so it's also again like exclusive music.
I think
But
it was a weird one. It was like some of the arranged tracks from the game, and then I think it even had the opening song, but it wasn't the full opening song.
oh, that's weird.
Yeah, they had a bunch of weird like choices with like the track list. Etrian Odyssey 4,
Yeah,
another just like C. Hey,
yeah.
thanks for being here. This is a weird one. I'm not sure where I want to put this. I don't feel good putting it in landfill. Where do you put the golden decal? Where
I
again, okay, yeah, it's like I know it deserves to be there, but I literally used mine for over 9 years. Like I just took it off.
I would probably put it in C just because your argument for the cohesion with that and the rest of the stuff kind
Yeah,
of
the
makes it just
wallpapers.
a better value. Yeah, the
Okay.
wallpapers makes it valuable, so maybe a C.
All right, so this one will definitely have to be an argument if this is not an S, but this is why we're here. The solid gold premium edition. Tell me that's not an S tier.
It's at least A. I would probably put it in S just because the value of the products that are included. they're all high quality.
Mhm.
So it's like nothing in there is cheap, I would say. For Persona, like Persona 4, Golden, Solid, Premium, blah blah blah. I feel
Mind
like
you, all too. I'm saying this is an S tier with full knowledge that it includes bullshit stickers.
yeah, it has stickers, which is definitely one of the it's definitely like a mark against it, but the quality of the cases that it's included they're so good.
Because remember, and I think if people don't know this, it comes with not only a Vita case, a hard case that could fit in that other case, which like sounds like
Yep.
almost contrarian, but like the way you think about a Vita, it came with a clamshell case, so it was a hard cover protection that would almost act like a DS cover when it was folded over, so your front was always protected when you're playing it, but never in the way when you needed it to just kind of be flipped up. And that yellow, which, man, you would think like, oh, this is a yellow case, and as someone who used it as his daily Vita case for almost a decade, outside of like losing a little bit of its paint, it still is great. Held just enough games that you need in there. Like the amount of drops I've had for that thing that never damaged my system. Like I guarantee it's just like one of those things like without the accessories from this collector's edition, my Vita my launch Vita from 2012 would still not be in the shape that it is in today.
Yeah, besides the BS stickers, I would actually put this in S just purely because think about the $30 hard pouch, the like $30 face cover.
Oh my god.
Those two things, yes, they're at least I'm like lowballing because I don't remember what the original MSRP for those things would be.
$70 for
this. Oh yeah, and yeah, so in total this is $70. So you're basically getting the game for $10 and getting these two very premium cases. Like you're paying for those two cases, and you're getting a free game.
Because remember at the time that accessory set from Hori was expensive.
Yeah, because you can and these were sold separately. That the Hori cases, I saw them sold separately online in Japan, and like it's just one of those things where they somehow managed to package them together and sell them for $70, and it's just way cheaper, like weirdly cheap. I don't know to what degree this was limited though. I just think that
that was the last thing I wanted to bring up because I love this about it. This was the last time Atlus ever made a collector's edition and told us how many copies they made. Yeah. I remember when they said that, I was like, whoa, that's gonna be like the rarest thing I ever own. And now I'm like looking at like things like I own this item that is one of 3. But like it was funny, like literally 2012 at the time, 10,000 seemed insane. Like insanely low, even for something as niche as an Atlus and a Persona game. But like, there was stress to getting that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is now like hilarious because like you look at the SMT5 collectors, they've literally sold over 250,000 probably just collector's editions just now at this point.
Yep.
So yeah, RIP, Solid Gold Premium Edition. Unless you're LaRue, everyone out there who does not have one is probably mad that they do not have one. But if you have one, it's one of the greats. One of the greats for sure.
It's one of the only ones I only have one of.
Oh, also, shout out to being a great collector's edition with no art book and no soundtrack.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't need that stuff. Sometimes you just need good quality parts inside.
Well, not for our next one, because our next one is one of my favorites, the Demon Souls Launch Edition. I don't know if you're a Demon Souls
Demon
OG
Souls is my
fan.
Yep.
Okay. I love this set. And I love it, and this is how you know I'm really unbiased. I don't even have this. I was late to the Souls era. Like, I got a, I think it was like a second or third printing of Demon Souls. I played a lot of Demon Souls with my friend, and I know I could get it one of these days, but like, it just looks like such a great set. Like you have it, like, so can you kind of like describe to people what the little deluxe set is?
The deluxe set it's actually pretty nice. It's packaged oversized into like almost like a storybook bounding, and inside of it is mine is sealed, so.
Okay, so it's the SMT5 treatment. Sorry, SMT4 treatment. CD sampler, but I think this one had almost like 20 or 30 tracks. It's a good amount of the CD and the soundtrack, which, oh my god, Demon Souls soundtrack.
Demon Souls soundtrack,
so good. And
it's 50-page book too. That book
Beefy
that's in
because
there.
it's the half art book, half strategy guide.
Yeah, it's really nice. The thing, you know how I kept complaining about how everything kept reusing art? This is one of the things where every single cover was completely different and they all work together. So it's like really nice. Like I highly recommend it to anyone who's a Demon Souls fan. Um it's like worth the money.
By the way, 10 out of 10 video out there of Aram Jabari, RIP Atlus manager, now works at Sony, ironically. His unboxing video for this is my favorite Atlus West video of like all time. Do you remember it?
No, actually.
I made a supercut of this on Twitter. I'll have to dig it up or something when I post the audio version of this tomorrow. He sniffs everything. When he's opening it, he sniffs every part of it, and it's just so directly into the microphone. So I made a supercut of every time he sniffs the game because it was, and because like listen, I'm a weirdo. I sniff whenever I get new game smell. I definitely do the same thing. But it was just so funny of like it's like this super weirdly lit, weirdly shot video of like headless Aram opening this awesome like Demon Souls thing, and he's just sniffing every inch of it. He's like, "Should we take another whiff?" Oh, it's a good smelling book. All right, everybody. See you next time.
Yep.
So, what do you think? Do we put this at SMT4 in the A, or do you think because it gets the Demon Soul bump of being more pages, different art, and more tracks, do you think it gets the S?
I would put it in an S, but I'm also super biased because I love Demon Souls.
You know what?
Like,
I am too, and I don't own it, so that means that we're very right in our decisions here. So we've made it to the final row, believe it or not, everybody. And I like this final row. This final row is like there's no like weird like oh this is a dumb thing to include. Like they're all kind of weird options. So first up we have. And again, I'm seeing stuff that, like, I swear I thought I threw in, but I just somehow missed, but I also did this at work, like, half drunk, apparently. So, I'm going to loop this in because they're kind of really together. Persona 1 and Persona 2 PSP remakes came with a CD. What are your...
They're like 2 CDs, too.
Well, that was everything. 1 is a 2 CD set. 2, I think, is just a single CD set.
Yeah. So I know that the first, like, at least Persona 1 is the full soundtrack. I don't remember Persona 2, but I don't like the soundtrack. So for me, it's like so I'm one of the weird people that thinks the soundtrack is good, but not in the context of the game. So I don't like the soundtrack as a soundtrack for the game. So it's really conflicting. I would put this in like C or so. I think they sold it as a collector's edition too, so it wasn't like normal MSRP.
No, actually, it was. The MSRP came with those. Those were the like day one editions. There were no more expensive copies. So every one of those were 40.
Okay, then I'd put it in like B. Then it's not awful because it's actually like a good value if you like the music.
It's tough because I actually like the soundtrack, but I feel like comparing it to like the art CD things, I don't think it's fair to put it above like the 9,000 Etrian 3DS games. I feel like it earns the C safely. B, I think, is giving it a little bit too much credit.
Okay, then yeah, C then for both of those.
Next up, I think we might have disagreeing opinions on this. What did you think of the Persona 5 Royal Collector's Edition?
Yeah, I'm conflicted on it because the mask was a cool idea, but it's kind of cheap. Like in my opinion, it is not. It doesn't. The build quality doesn't like say much to me. It's kind of just like, oh, it's a nice idea.
It feels very function over form.
Yeah, and then the soundtrack is like another. Again, I think it's a sampler. I think it's just the royal music. The art book is just okay, but it's really I hate the binding.
Hey, it's not great. It's better than they had been doing recently. They are getting better at hardcover at least. And that one, I liked its contents felt actually dictated a lot more. Like someone had a
Yeah,
plan.
curated it. Yeah,
Like the fact that we like, because honestly, I'm kind of surprised we got third semester art. I could have seen someone in Atlus Japan being like, can't show spoiler art. No, they can't see those winter outfits. Like I like that they show concepts of like even something like the third forms. Like that's like
yeah.
when I went through that, I was like, I didn't think we'd get that much. Like so, the art book was a nice surprise. The mask is literally the definition of a paperweight, and the CD is
Yeah,
like is a better thing. But then the weird with this is like this like
the
it
digital
feels
stuff is kind of nice.
it.
It comes with the dynamic theme, right?
Yeah, but every launch copy did for it, and as
Oh, okay.
PlayStation 5 owners, we should all know that PS4 themes are now literally about as useful as like $1 in a third world country or something. It's like cool if you have it, but you're never going to use it. Um,
Yeah,
like I like what it's doing, but it feels really safe. Like it's like a $90 collector's edition. Nothing's
it doesn't feel like
rare.
it's worth it. Yeah,
No, I mean, well, no. It's like when I got it, I didn't feel like I got ripped off. I was like, it's fine. It's a it earns its $30, but like I'm never gonna show this off to someone like I would show off the Teddy or even a CD or even like an art. Well, okay, maybe like I showed off the artwork piece for it, but like I was more impressed by the gold foil premium Amazon pre-order bonus card than most of the other things in this. Like I liked that dumb Amazon collector's card more than the mask it came in.
yeah, and yeah. For me, this is like a D or a C. It's I almost don't like it as much as Etchy and stuff, so I almost want to put it in D, but
I'm gonna
maybe C.
I
Maybe
think
C.
C just because like for everything you get for $30 more, it's not that bad. And like the things I like in there at the very least, like it would look weird along with like stuff like the PQ and like Radiant Historia, things like that. I feel it at least it makes sense in C when you at least put it all together, which is then kind of funny because now I'm looking at B and I'm like, yes, the cheaper steelbook version earns a place better than the $90 edition, but that's just the way the
The
cookie
value.
crumbles.
Yeah, it's just a better value. That's still.
Speaking of value, while I was doing research for this, our next one is Devil Summoner 2. Do you remember what this retailed for?
It was literally $60 or $70.
No! The Raiho
No.
plushie was $40 MSRP day one.
Okay, yeah, it's been a while because I remember going to EB Games before they all rebranded in America as GameStop, and I remember buying it. Well, my girlfriend bought it for me, and yeah, it was relatively cheap. So you're saying $40?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe it. I actually this one I want to put in A tier. One because the plush is just another Japan port. It's literally just the plush that they had as a pre-order bonus, but it's like actually really good quality. They did some weird marketing. Like one thing they did is for this April Fool's Day thing, they talked about having a whole shipment stolen by pirates.
Oh my
Like
god, I
weird...
forgot. That was in like what the
Yeah.
Atlus Faithful newsletter, right?
Yeah, it was.
Oh my
And
god, I forgot about
I remember
that.
being so dumb that I actually thought it was real. Like I thought, oh man, someone stole all these plushes.
Oh my god.
It's I like the weird plastic casing. It's also my bias because I love this game. So for me, it's like A, even
I'm
though it literally
surprised
comes
it's
with
not
nothing.
S. I would have thought this was an easy S for you.
It's because the plastic is kind of like the plastic casing is cool, but very very easy to damage.
I'm a
I
sucker.
like
I'm
this.
a sucker for this though. I love that they
Mhm.
individually numbered them. I always love when a game does that.
I didn't even know they're individually.
If you look in the
numbers.
back, it'll tell you how many. I think they made like 25,000 or something. Um, the
People
other
look
funny
at
thing
my
about this, while I was doing research, this game was such a horrendous flop. By the way, that in the year 2012, retailers were trying to give them away for up to $25 a copy. Like
And
it,
now they're like $300.
well, that's the funny thing. They're $300 if you go on eBay, but like, dude, if you go to a mom and pop shop, they will not like sell it for that price. I need to like every
Yeah.
time I've seen someone get one recently, they're like, "Oh, a small shop had it and was begging to get rid of it," because they're like, because it's like, yeah, people will pay that online, but like if you're at a retail store, like no one's gonna drop that price for it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay,
So for
see,
me, I'll just put it in A. Yeah.
okay, I like it. I don't actually have mine still anymore. It was just so funny. Like by the time I think I like gotten rid of it, it was in my I was selling stuff a lot phase. I think it was like part of
Oh,
something I like sold. Well, because I was back in the day of like, dude, the only way I afforded a PS3 in 2008, I had to sell like the entirety of my game collection.
oh wow.
But I mean, hey, most of the stuff I've really wanted, I'd got back. Like I love the plushie, but it's like I don't get I don't nothing I Marie Kondo my game collection. I like my CDs, I like my art books, I like my steel books, and I like my game cases. I don't need the plushes and the fluff kind of like around me. My entire house
Yeah.
is just filled with my wife's stuffed animals. I don't need to help her with that equation.
Fair enough.
Next one, another one I totally forgot about. Did you remember the visual data book for Persona 4?
Yeah, it's actually not terrible.
I had to like triple check this wasn't a reseller thing, but it was like the day one edition that I somehow didn't get because I think most people remember the CD because every copy for year and I think even the Amazon copies still are the CD copy, but I really like that book. That's like a really just like nice like little like art book without kind of like needing to be anything more or less.
Yeah, it's not cheaply made. It's got everything that you'd want in an art book, where it has actual information about the art, commentary, like sketches. It has like all the portraits. I think, and what's best is it's not rare, so you can literally just go on eBay right now and buy it for like $15. So
Yeah, that's like the nice one. I was thinking B with this one. I'm like kind of up there with
yeah,
like
at
the
least B.
Vanillaware stuff.
At least B, because like again, the Persona art books tend to be the strong ones. Because yeah, so I'd put it in B. That's good.
So this is a weird one of one I've seen. I've had at one point, but I have no interest of ever trying to hunt down again. I do not care at all for the Persona 3 Day 1 edition set. I think the covers are ugly. The art book is whatever. Like it's cool, but it's not like great. Um, did it come with anything else, or was it just the game and the art book?
It's just the game in the art book. I have this thing. It's not worth anything. Oh,
It
actually, no. Sorry, it comes with 18 songs on the CD, which is not bad.
okay.
The art book is like sub 60 pages. I
It's
don't remember how many pages,
yeah,
but
it's one of those like super tiny like they did the hardcover thing, but like they did the bare minimum page print run. It's like it's
yep,
fine. I know people are super nostalgic for this. It's just like I don't look at any aspect of this and be like, oh my god, my collection needs this in it again. Of like it's just that inoffensive C tier for me of like it's cool it exists, but it's never anything I'm gonna like brag to anyone about.
yeah. I mean, just because the MSRP was pretty low is the only reason why I'm not gonna like try to fight for anything higher.
And I mean, Krillcast in the chat brings up a good point. For everything in there that was decent, it was just one of those things of like, I think PS2 RPGs at the time had kind of set that as the standard for hey, for $50 you're kind of expected to get this. Like this wasn't anything weird
Yeah,
to get at the time.
yeah, exactly.
Speaking of weird PS2 stuff, Digital Devil Saga's Digital Deluxe Box, otherwise known as the hey, this is a duology, so we might as well include a big box for you to put both copies in.
Interesting idea.
I totally forgot this actually came with other materials. Then I had to like go back into my collection. It was like, oh, yep, yeah, it has like CD and like some other like bonus material stuff on there. I like
I
it.
think it's I don't know. Stickers.
Oh
I mean,
god, you're right. It does the stickers thing again.
I mean, at least these ones are more like actual decals where you can put them on your controller, and that's kind of cool if you really wanted them on your PS2 controller. But I don't know.
I feel like the
I
only
don't know.
Atlus stickers that would ever impress you at this point, LaRue, are like Japanese PS2 memory card decal stickers.
Which I have all of them.
I
so.
know that's like the only reason I can think that's why you would care.
Yeah, it's only because they're rare. Like literally, the rarity is the selling point for me. But aside from that, I'm like, once I have them, they just go. They like go in my warehouse like that. It's like that scene from Indiana Jones. Just lost forever. I don't know. I don't remember if the soundtrack is a full soundtrack. It's
No,
just
that was another one of like
no.
I think it's like a sub 20 track song. It's a good mixture of like battle themes and like ambient tones for it.
Yeah,
Like it's one I like of like it was a cool thing to include for $50. It was a nice big thick box set, but I think it's a
it was.
B
Yeah,
just for the fact that I'm a sucker for things that are like, hey, put the series all in one box and you can have it all together. Kind of like they did with the like P3 movies and stuff like that.
yeah. It's a very fun idea. I remember in the early days, like when I was super new to like Shin Megami Tensei Network's Facebook group. Like I remember when somebody who worked at the factory that manufactured all the boxes were like selling them completely flat,
Oh my god, I
unpackaged.
forgot. Yeah, they were just selling them by the unlike assorted lots for it. I totally forgot about
And
that.
it was so cheap. And I remember thinking that's a scam, so I didn't buy it. And now I'm like, no. uh, that's funny. So
So
yeah, I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just being like, I think it's a cool one for fans. I think it's an interesting one of like, it'll at least be one I always remember of like, especially just because like how much I love DDS. Of just like I like that it was different. It did some dumb bullshit. It definitely wasn't trying to overreach its bounds for it, but it's one I always remember of, if not just for the fact that dang, that's a really thick dumb box. I don't know how you're gonna feel about this one. How do you feel about Nocturne, which, unless I'm really dumb, never explained that there was a version that comes with the CD on any printing of this?
I don't think so because they all just say director's cut. You literally wouldn't know unless you like shook the box or whatever and heard the second CD like just loosely flying about.
Yeah, so basically, if you bought Nocturne at launch, you got. Do you remember how many tracks? I know it's another sampler, but
I actually don't remember. I listened to it like one time.
It's got like again like another like something like 20 tracks. The literally I remember the design of the CD just being the SMT logo more than anything about that CD.
Yeah, it's just the SMT logo, and I thought I actually hate that logo. I like the original Japanese logo better. So for me, it's like that's already kind of like a mark against. um,
I'm
Dang, I
gonna kind of
can't.
put this with like I'm thinking like D like Soul Hackers of like it's
Mhm.
fine. It doesn't deserve to probably be this high, but it's like Nocturne. You're not doing anything offensive.
Yeah, that's fair. It's definitely not doing anything offensive, and it's literally the same price as the original. So,
So this is a
pause
weird one
button.
of I don't even know if you would have classified this, but this was one of the first ones I added. Persona
Mhm.
2, if I'm not mistaken, being the earliest case of Atlus offering a bonus item. Of Persona 2 came with that bonus disc, and it basically just had the making of and the anime trailer, maybe like a couple like other like little things for it. But like I always remember that bonus disc of like how many times I watched it and just like soaked all of it in. Not even because like, hey, I want to like learn more about this Innocent Sin game I'm never gonna play for 15 years, but I just thought it was so cool of like. Hey, like it's how a lot of people I think look at Dot Hack and remember the anime OVAs that came with it is like that was Dot Hack for me before Dot Hack even existed.
So I actually went to go grab my Persona 2, and yeah, it does have a separate disc, and I do remember this as just being weird because the original, like the Japanese version, does this thing where that bonus disc thing is like a completely separate phenomenon that you could interact with, and it like has like interviews and stuff. So I think it's one of those situations where I don't mind it. Like I think it's kind of cool, but also it's the anime trailer because of how it's presented completely removes what the anime trailer was because it's just supposed to be a fun like
Oh yeah,
this could have
it
happened if
makes no sense at all.
yeah
None at all.
yeah
Oh my god, weird Atlas fact no one is ever going to care about, but I thought you and the 13 people awake at midnight will care about for this. Did you know that they actually had a script localized to dub that?
why
They were going to dub it, and then when the recording process of Eternal Punishment, all the people there at PCB were like, this literally makes no sense. Like, because of how
Yeah.
they made the trailer edited, like, it was like, just do it raw. Like, it wasn't even worth recording. It was like, guys, just do it as its own thing. Because at the time, PlayStation had a very strict rule of anything brought over to America had to be 100% in English. And because it was not an advertised part of the game, that's how they got around it. But the plan originally was they in the original script they had voiced lines for the anime OVA.
Bad. I'm glad they didn't do that.
I know, but it's like one of those fun things. Like, man, there's probably a train wreck hidden in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think the funniest thing about this disc is that, or the CD case in general, is in the top right. It literally has this weird shield and it says RPG, just in case you weren't sure what kind of game it was, because
that's like literally another one of those. I've thought about the Atlus genre tag as a video topic for so long because it fucking makes no sense. They did that with all of their games in the 90s, and it's the funniest fucking thing of like, because they did it with a Guilty Gear fighting game or like whatever of like I need to like get to the bottom of it, and I'm sure I could find enough people to finally ask with like, I need to find out what dumb in charge in the 90s thought Atlus has to define their genres on the cover with that emblem. It's like the most stupid thing I've ever seen, but I love it. It's so like that is almost as nostalgic to me as the old 90s Atlus logo.
Yeah.
So, Persona 2 bonus CD, where do you think it goes?
I kind of don't like it. I just put it in like C or D.
I'll do C. It's a cool item, but it definitely doesn't like need to really be anything. But it is just a cool, fun, weird piece of history.
Yeah.
This one's gonna make me sad. Larry, tell me your thoughts on the 13 Sentinels quote unquote art book.
It's the same size as the actual case, which already is a red flag. Don't like that. I've never looked at it because I don't want to.
Do you have it within arm's length?
I do, and I'm not gonna ever open it. Probably.
Oh, it's sealed. Okay.
Yeah. I don't like it. But it was like priced as the normal, like just the game, so that's kind of a plus.
No. Landfill, dude.
I just hate the CD though. What is a CD full or is
no
it
CD?
A sampler?
No CD. This is just art book.
Oh, then landfill it because
landfill all the way, dude. You haven't even opened this, so please, everyone, go click on my very bad unboxing video. I did unbox this because I wanted to show how bad the art book is. If you don't even compare it to the Odin Sphere and Dragon's Crown one, it's still one of the worst Atlus art books next to Dancing. They just did this. Every page is take 13 or so, pun not intended, character sprites at an incredibly low resolution. Which, by the way, a game that has art that has resolutions up to 8K, not in the game, but like Vanillaware does their art in insanely high resolutions.
Yeah, they do it crazy high.
They are the blurriest fucking screenshots in the art book form, and they're just random pieces of like animations from like the characters walking, eating, or eating bread with no context, tells you nothing about the characters, and there's no concept art. And then at the very end, all you get is 3 pieces of art showing off the 3 different Sentinel models, and that's it. And if you compare that to literally any piece of art released in a Japan, not even Japan, even just look at like the art show they did in the West. There is so much amazing art and production that went into this game that art book is like the effort of jerking off at 3 in the morning before you have to go in for a 4:30 shift at the warehouse. It's like it is so insulting how much great art is in that game. Because like that game is just such a love letter to their own animation style. And like those characters that cast, like and oh my god, it was in development for so fucking long. It had so many weird iterations and other things for it. It is just such a disrespect to Vanillaware that like I hope we get the full art book like one day by someone. Because it's and I don't even like love it. I do not think it's a masterpiece. But like for a game like this that is so narrative and so visually heavy, to just have like the like one of the worst art books ever. It's like, consider yourself lucky you've never opened it, because it's literally just like a waste of space. It's a terrible, terrible art book.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
Thankfully, we're not ending on a total negative. We're ending by the tier maker algorithm gods on Catherine. I just love
All
Catherine.
right.
I love talking about Catherine. So we'll start off with the easy one. Catherine Full Body on Switch. Do you remember the keychain that came with this?
Yeah, I like that keychain. I only bought the Switch version just because I wanted the keychain. It's easy, like C or maybe even B for me because I like keychains. I don't like stickers or pins and or anything, but I actually use keychains, and this one's cute and it's well made. So I don't know. It's like B at least, or C or B for me.
I'll give it the B, because like it clearly was like, hey, we're not gonna make a special edition for this. Like, Full Body did not really sell well in the West, but it was one of those funny things of like, I like that they did something different than Japan, and it made unique space of the Switch's weirdly long art, because God forbid they make a manual. So like, I liked
Mm-hmm.
that little thing of like using that space to hold it. Had its own like little I guess like whatever plastic holder with some art in it as well. So like, I really enjoyed that. I thought that was like a fun, cool little touch. Definitely not worth like
Yeah,
buying full price for it, but like a fun little weird Atlus thing that you don't see a lot.
yeah.
Um, the not steelbook for Catherine Full Body. So just the launch edition for $60 came with a pink metal case with really beautiful Sojima art in just a really terrible metal case with really lazy inside art and no name on the spine. Where do you put this?
I actually hate this case.
Thank you.
I hate
Thank
it a
you.
lot because
Thank you.
for me, spine should at least have something.
Hmm.
That's the bare minimum of like a case, and it doesn't have that, so it's like that landfill for me. I actually hate this case.
If you were here, that would be warrant for at least a very uncomfortably long hug. I've not agreed with you harder all night. Thank you very much. So, we might have a double landfill. I don't know how you're going to feel about this. I also hate the collector's edition for weirdly specific reasons. But what did you think of the full body PS4 collector's edition?
Tiny bad art book, tiny bad soundtrack. The plush was okay, but and I like the package design, but everything else about it's awful. I actually think this shouldn't have been more than just the regular retail price of the game, the base game. It's not good.
So,
I would,
I couldn't agree more. I actually will say that my biggest thing, I like the plush. I think the plush is nice. It's at least like Koromaru like level of quality and stuff with it.
yeah, it is Koromaru for
I
sure.
love the box. This is the one of the weird cases
Yeah,
of like the motif of taking the slip cover off and having it be like the Tower of Babel and stuff, like all the bricks from the game and like the different designs. I feel like that was so nice.
it's clever. Yeah,
The thing that sucks about this is, and people don't talk about this, A, because no one should care about this game that much or own both regions' collector's editions. If you open up the art book, it is almost one for one the Japanese collector's edition art book, except the Japanese one was soft cover and the American one was hardcover. There's only one major difference. Do you know what the American one is missing?
nope.
All of Ren's art that is even slightly hinting that Ren is not a girl. And it is the dumbest thing ever. Like, I get that they didn't want to use it in the marketing. I get that there was a weird, stupid reaction to, like, the not transphobia drama. But the fact that all of the art book work hinting at that, which, by the way, is a lot of Ren's art. Ren does not have a lot of stationary art of her. And for all of that to be taken out of the Western art book, I thought was so stupid. It was just one of those dumb things of like, you're not censoring the game. The game has everything that the Japanese version has in it. So why would you censor the one that the hardcore fans of the game would want to see that stuff, you know?
Yeah, I get you.
So I don't think, you know what? I don't think it deserves a landfill, but it definitely was like, it's another one I'm never gonna brag to anybody about. Like it's a high D. It should be a C, but I think it deserves a D.
Yeah, I put it in D for completely different reasons. Because I actually hate Full Body, but I love the original Vanilla
Listen, if
Catherine.
we were describing these, if we were ranking these of the game, this list would look completely different.
Yeah, but that's just like a completely side thing. I put this one in S tier, by the way. Vanilla Catherine, like Chef's
Deluxe
Kiss,
edition.
yeah, deluxe edition,
See,
perfect.
again, this is why I had to have you on here. We don't even need to get into it, but we got to get into it. So, talk about what's in it, talk about what you like about it, and tell me why you also, like me, are recording this show wearing your Vincent boxers.
Okay, first of all, again, I love kitschy special edition titles. It's called the Love Is Over edition. Hilarious, charming, fun. Comes the shirt. The shirt is actually cool because it ties into the game. It's the shirt that Catherine wears. It's good. It comes with boxers, which are the boxers Vincent wears, and it's also fun and good. And neither of those things are cheap quality. The body pillow, well, it's just the regular pillow case thing. It's nice. It has a nice printing of Catherine with a C on it. It comes with the art book and soundtrack, I believe, and it has this pizza box, which
Thank
is
you.
so
I was gonna say, if
funny.
you did not mention the pizza box, I would have been so mad. It is all wrapped in a totally doesn't look like a pizza box. It is literally just they went to Uline and got the cheapest cardboard box they could with
Yeah,
a stray sheep sticker on it. Doesn't matter. Like everything in it is so like it feels like it was meant to be taken from the game world, and I love it. Like literally, I used the pillowcase until my wife told me I don't want to sleep on a Catherine pillowcase anymore. Like it was faded as fuck, but I love that pillowcase. I still have the shirt. The shirt still fits. I still have the boxers. The boxers still fit, and they look great. Like it was such an awesome set. And the best part of all, it was only 20 extra bucks.
very good. Not only that, because the one thing that you didn't include, I don't think, was the regular pre-order bonus edition of Catherine.
No, that was the first
Um,
one we did. Remember the sound and art book?
oh snap, we did. Okay,
Listen,
sorry.
that was
I don't know
two
why I
hours
forgot.
ago. You
That
you are very well excused.
this is like what I want from a collector's edition. Quirky things that like establish that this game is that establish the game, that kind of like showcase what the game's all about. It's so emblematic of the game, and it has a quirky name. It has everything that, and also it's like, yeah, only $20 more. I love this collector's edition, and also like the feather on its cap is that the PS3 versus the Xbox versions have different Catherines on the cover. So I bought the Xbox version collector's edition, even though I didn't have an Xbox, just because I prefer Catherine with a K. So like it's, I don't know, so many cool things. Definitely, probably my favorite Megaten, or not Megaten, Atlus collector's edition of all time. Actually, is that one.
I always need to. I'm always looking out for. Even though I have a copy of Catherine, I'm always looking out for the Walmart exclusive covers of Catherine anytime I go use game shopping because I want them, but I don't want to pay like any level of markup charge for them.
Walmart exclusive covers on it.
Do you
What do you
not
mean?
remember this? This was a whole quote unquote controversy because the original Catherine covers showed Catherine with a C's cleavage or Catherine with a K's big ol' badonkadonk dumpster truck. And so what Walmart did is they went to Atlus and they said, "Hey, we will sell this game about sex," which it's really not, but you have to change the cover. So it's an extreme zoomed in shot of Catherine with a C on PS3 and Catherine with a K, and the logo is just next to their cheek. So the whole cover is just an extreme zoom in on their face and was only sold at Walmart.
Huh? And was that with the deluxe edition or just the
No, no,
regular?
no, just the regular. Just the regular.
Okay, so I'll look on. I'm gonna look out for that too. You just created some competition and unintentionally. So
There's a low level of competition for the Walmart exclusive cover. I will say the other one as well. That this one I know I'll have to import, but I love this. Shout out to Deep Silver, even though they published it like 9 million years late. The European copy of Catherine I love because it's the only version with reversible cover art. So you can have K Catherine on PS3 or C Catherine on Xbox. I always thought that was a really cool choice.
That is cool.
Well, that's our tier list. This is a weird fucking tier list, but I think I'll tell you that when I was making these items, I did not think that this is what it was going to look like, but I'm pretty happy with our list. What do you think about it?
Actually, I don't have too many qualms. I'm trying to think of something that I would change, but I can't really think of anything. Yeah, solid. Now this is pretty much the definitive list because it's two collectors with long time experience, so we're probably the only people who are capable of making this list.
if like if like anyone ever like, by the way, I'll post this in the edited version of the audio podcast in the show notes and on the YouTube one and on Twitter in the morning. So if anyone here wants to do this, please. I know this one is way more niche than the SMT5 Demon one I've been making. But yes, please let me know where you would rank these Atlus collector's items. I really want to see what you all think. Just feel free to tweet them at us, share them on Facebook or whatever, and all this stuff. It is past 1 o'clock. My wife is very cranky with me because, like I told you, Leroy, I can never end a show on time. So we're going to end this as quickly and tidily as possible. So I will let you go first. Where can people find you? Where can they subscribe to you? Where can they join your maybe OnlyFans for maybe at least 2 more months?
Just type LaRue in YouTube or did ya know Tensei on Twitter. And sometimes I stream on Twitch like once a week. LaRue on Twitch, so yeah.
You were doing Twitch.
Go
I
there.
feel like last month. I feel like you were doing like almost like 2 or 3 times a week. You were Twitching.
Yeah, I went from like being a hardcore Twitcher or whatever.
Please never describe it as that. Please do not ever call it Twitcher.
It's getting late. My brain is turning off. But like now I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't have to do it. Maybe I'll just do it whenever I feel like talking. So I basically just go, oh, I feel like talking right now, so I just fire things up and go.
Yours are like your streams are like a direct of consciousness, because it's not like, oh, watch me play this or watch me doodle this like it used to be. It's like, all right guys, I'm gonna watch some videos and we're gonna just harshly judge them because they're on the internet and I have opinions. And it's like the equivalent of like if you're like in retirement on your like lawn, you're like, I'm gonna judge what's in front of me for 30 minutes and you're gonna be witness to it.
Basically.
All right, well, thank you for coming on, and I know it is not your podcast, but would you like to tell people where, if they're ever really bored and lonely on a Friday night, where they can hear you?
Yeah, definitely tune in to the other. What, I forgot the name of the podcast.
I was gonna be like, is it like the Frequently Friday Infrequent podcast or something?
The Full Frontal Friday podcast with Sergeant Claire Bear and Filthy Blasphemer. So go ahead and check that out. We do that once every other week on Fridays.
It is a really good like background like stream podcasting to have. I enjoy that of like, it's Friday, I gotta grind out some terrible game. I'll just put this on in the background. It's a good way to learn about you guys without actually talking to you in a weird way. So, place you can find me. This is way too long, so we're going to super rapid fire this. You can support the show on Patreon by going to Patreon. That's patreon.com/SMTN. You can support for $1, get the show early most of the time. Other perks, $5 a month will get you a shout out as a executive producer. Executive producers will all be shouted out in the edited version, blah, 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 blah. I love you all so much. You're all awesome. You all make the show function. Follow the show on Twitter at SMT Network, Facebook group, Discord, YouTube, all the links below, blah, 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 blah. Everyone at like 1 o'clock in the morning watching this live, thank you for actually staying up and doing this all and talking about collector's editions with us. I greatly appreciate that. Everyone listening to this on a bus in Wisconsin, I hope you also enjoyed this show. So, LaRue, it is time for us to say goodbye to the stream, and then we will all fall asleep very hard.
Bye.
Goodbye.